And I'm imagining that pretty soon here, people will tell us that they can hear us. And again, yes, people could do this on their own. I could turn on my own Twitch stream, but this is an interactive medium, and I feel like that's like the only thing I want to expect from the audience.
It's
Is
a
to
learning process. We all need
Hey,
to learn together.
thank you. We have a lot of people here, and thank you. And I apologize for the excessive filters, but quite frankly, I'm just not going to deal with that if I can help it. That's all it comes down to. So appreciate you. Thanks for being here. This is a fundraising stream, so we're going to start out by hitting our donate link. If you get a chance, take a look over at the Bail Fund. We are here to do that. The Bail Project is what I'm looking for. Yeah, if everybody wants to take a second and spam social media with anything, I mean, we could do that. And then we're going to get into...
Yep.
We're going to get into playing this game. Kevin, you want to tell people who you are?
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm Nit. If y'all came from the Agents Represent stream, that was my my work that they were being way too kind and nice to, and that
good.
they're like cutting deep and breaking my heart with in a good way. And I design games, I play games, I run games, and I hang out in a lot of different BIMPOC safe and adjacent spaces online.
Okay.
Shout out to Nid and Said.
All right, AJ, you want to go next?
Hello. My name's Jay. Yeah, I'm a Jay. I am in many of the same spaces that Kevin is in. You may know me as the guy who constantly yells about this thing called Bolt. It's not as good as people say it is.
Aren't you the primary one who says how good it is? Isn't that mostly? No? Okay. You should do that. That's a good thing to do.
I'm really excited about this. This is going to be fun. I have some bonkers characters.
Okay, so far I've messed up saying Ajay right. So how about Rue? Am I saying that right?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. I am fairly new to the TTRPG community, so I just retweet other cool people on my Twitter, which is @CherryDrop. That's about it.
That's really fair. I mean, especially right now. So if anybody's watching this right now, we are donating under the GoJG team that Jess set up. The reason for that is because she has a show that's right before this, and we don't need 1,000 fundraisers. We just need to keep donating towards the right cause. I felt like it was a better use of time to fill that space, and she's always so good about coming in and seeing us when we're streaming stuff. So that's it. Appreciate her, and I really appreciate... Okay, I've got this. Again, the mod filter is just crazy right now. So if you guys put anything in, just so you know, it's going to go crazy on you. That's it. So we're playing Kitchen Contest, which is a game about us pretending to be chefs and also pretending to be the judges who are telling those chefs what they should have done better. The game setup's really simple. We're going to go through this and actually just read the game and play it as we go. If you guys have the PDF and it's open, great. But if not, I'm going to do all the work. So with that, I go down to page 5 of the PDF, which is the start of the game. So the first thing we're going to do is roll 6 six-sided dice. Unless somebody cares, unless one of you would prefer to do it, I can do it.
That's all.
Okay, here we go. We're rolling 66, and this is going to tell us how the game's going to go. High, low, things like that don't matter. What we're looking to do is to beat the difference. So we want to have the exact same numbers on the dice or the exact same values in the end. Okay, so this is a weird set. We have 2. I'm putting this in the Zoom chat so we don't forget. 2, 4, 6, 5, 5, 5. So that's our winning hand. If you get a 2, a 4, a 6, a 5, a 5, a 5, the television sound, Ken, that is on our side. Yes, there's stuff going on in the background. I always have a loud house. Sorry about that. So with that, yes, we have, those are our winning numbers today. Maybe I can put it down on the text real quick. Give me a second and see if I can do something clever here. Let's see what we've got. We've got a text. This is going to be our new source. It's going to be called the hand or goals. Let's call it goals because that's what I actually call it in the rule text. 2, 4, 6, 5, 5, 5. Okay, so let's just call it goals actually because I managed to type that in the wrong place. And if we get this winning hand, we will win the game. If we get the same numbers on different dice, we will still win the game. Multiple people can win the game. I don't think that's unreasonable. Let's use our same font that we're using. And we'll get the same values and the same size, and everything will be very similar. Put that down there right in the center of the screen and transition. Cool, so now everybody should be able to see the goals in a second pop up on the screen so that we don't forget what they are. And with that, we're going to be rolling our hands. So now the next set is for everybody to roll 6 dice of their own. If you guys need a link to a dice roller, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to do that. Serious, it's getting really loud. Really loud. Okay, so I've got my dice. Let's see. I think I can do the same thing I just did for everybody else. So let's see. Let's get some dice setups here. And a new source. We'll get this going. My dice are... I've got a 2, 6, 3, 3, 5, 3.
I just put my dice in chat.
Nice. Okay, if we do that
I
for
should do
everybody,
that.
feel free to do so, and I will get this going. 2, 6, 3, 3, 5, 3. Yep. Cool, cool, cool. So I've got that. Here's my dice.
For those that can't see our Zoom chat, I've rolled a 1, a 4, a 2, a 3, a 5, and 5.
Now, the first time that we did this, the last time we did this, we managed to get somebody who had managed to roll the exact set minus 1 die.
And that
So
one
we'll
die was
see.
like 1 or 2 off.
Yeah. So it was very, very close. Okay.
I have rolled a 4, 3, 4, 6, 5, and 3. Colonel.
So none of us asked Ajay to do this voice. This is just how he is, right? I mean,
He came like this.
I'm not in any way mad
I
about
just
it.
came out of a box, and I have this exact voice.
Wow. Good stuff. That's what we want to hear. Okay. If I can
Alright,
get
and then
this.
my dice are 5, 4, 1, 1, 6, 1. Figures I would get a bazillion ones.
That's not the worst thing ever, but we'll see how that treats us as we go on. Closer and closer as we go. This is the kind of thing that may make a difference later on, so hey, why not set it up now, right? Okay, mine and Nit's are above our names because... No, now they're below. I can't settle on anything. Alright, one more. One more to get Rouge dice and be all set. New source. Okay, that's fine. We'll just name that one something weird because I pushed too fast on the buttons. That's cool. There we go. And Rouge dice. Cool. Done. And Nit, thanks for handling some of these important chat functions while I get this going. Okay, so now I think we've got everybody's dice showing up. And we're ready to play the game. So, we've got our dice, we rolled our stakes. On page 5 of the PDF, we're now going to page 6, where we're going to describe our chefs. Okay, so it's time to think about your chef and what they're going to be like. So we've got the goals. Yeah, let's see how close did I come to these goals. I've got some of these numbers and not others. So you can mix and match these dice if you want, unless you're somehow just superhumanly cool and you can just keep them where they are, and then you'll get what you want out of this. But the goal is to match the numbers on the goals. So we've got, right now, our 3 courses. Let me modify how our goals are going to work. I'm going to group these so we can tell what the goal dice are. So our goal number 1 is going to be 2 and 4 together. Our goal number 2 is going to be 6 and 5 together. Our goal number 3 is going to be 5 and 5 together. So we need to get 6, 11, and 10. Okay, and my math was off on one of those. I somehow managed to write 10 twice, but now with that, we are now corrected-ish. Just take it down a bit, okay, and transition that. Okay, so now we can see what we have to get in each of these rounds. So we can go real hot in round 1, get the exact numbers, and then roll through, and in the next couple of rounds we can have fewer numbers. We'll just see how this goes, right? But let's think about what our chefs are like. I know that Ajay and Kevin have their chefs ready to go, so
You too.
I'm so cautious, but okay. Ajay, do you want to start us off and describe your chef?
Sure. Out of curiosity, what's the kitchen look like?
That's a great question. Let's talk about this now. What does our kitchen look like? What do we want to have in this setup? Are there requests? Like, what kind of kitchen do we want to be in?
I want a stove with exactly 17 burners.
Wow, 17 burners. Okay.
Specifically
Oh
17.
man, that's the dream.
All right. Because your chef is a celebrity, do you feel like you had to like get that custom brought in? Is there more workspace than average for you?
I think my chef specifically commissioned this entire section of the set specifically for this show.
Okay. So I don't even know what the producers thought of all this, but this entire show has been revamped to suit the needs of your particular chef. We have 4 17-burner stove ranges.
No,
let's talk
one
about-
range with 17 burners.
Oh, okay, the thing you said. There's a range with 17 burners at each of 4 stations. What other stuff is at these stations?
Brew, Kevin?
Yeah, you guys have stuff you want?
I think that there's like a pretty plain looking station, and then we see a bunch of like burly looking dudes in black t-shirts and black pants just come out of nowhere, and like we see like the production team behind the camera just like, who the hell are these guys? Like they don't work for us. These aren't our guys. Like, and they just pick up the stove and oven and they just walk away with it, and like somebody else comes and it's like this big stainless steel like countertop table with like a big old like range and like the built-in oven and everything, and like a deep fryer built into the countertop.
Yes. It's
And
good.
like
Okay.
matching knife set and all the utensils. They're all stainless steel.
Okay. Okay, so it's gotten a little bit of an upgrade here, maybe, or at least like a shift in look. I don't know. Rue, do you have thoughts on what the kitchen looks like?
My chef's area, a lot of the normal kitchen supplies have been shoved aside, and it kind of looks like a science lab a little bit. Like there's like beakers and like things to pour things into, and like just stuff is already like percolating in the background. No one knows what's going on.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna say, like, for the camera crew, as they're looking at this set, like they've had to change a lot of stuff. Like maybe there is like more vapor and mist than they're used to seeing in the kitchen and so forth. So they're throwing a lot of like extra lighting cans at this setup. They're getting a lot of shots they don't usually get. So like things look slightly hectic, which is exactly what I expected from this one shot, to be frank. So as we're doing this, this kitchen looks like everyone is rushing around. You see constantly throughout this run, this entire show, we're going to see production assistants running around in the background, like shifting stuff. And we're going to see a lot of, just weird shots of the kitchen we don't normally get. Like apparently the edge of the freezer area goes right off the stage. Like this is where you can tell this is a sound stage, not a real kitchen. This is going to be a fun show. Okay.
Notably, good.
No, go ahead.
Notably, you start seeing the production crew hand out earplugs to everyone on set, including anyone in the audience.
Wow, very interesting. And we do have a small studio audience. I want to say this is like just a clapping studio audience. You know, it usually doesn't get too rowdy, but we'll see how it goes today. Yeah, and then maybe it's mostly families. I mean, who knows? Now, as we're looking around and we're seeing all the different stuff, I imagine personally like a lot of like cherry wood accents, like brushed stainless steel, things like that. Things look fairly classy. There's a lot of high-end appliances. All the labels are taken off and so forth. So you're not supposed to be able to see all that stuff. No one would ever just put labels all over all the appliances. That would be terrible. So let's talk about our chefs. We did not actually get into a J chef, right? We actually were just discussing the kitchen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So about the earplugs, immediately you hear just dramatic orchestral strikes, and then a wall that's suspiciously blank on the far left of the stage just explodes inward into the soundstage, and you see Solid Snake just dodge roll into the kitchen, just surrounded by a cloud of cheap cinder block, immediately landing in that classic 3-point landing, and the camera just swivels around him, the classic Michael Bay look, as he slowly stands and steps toward his position in the stage and just says, "I'm ready."
The announcer said, okay, what does the camera say for Snake down here at the bottom? What is the caption for him as he's appearing as a chef?
It just says Solid Snake.
It just says
And with a
Solid Snake
subtitle,
straight up.
You know who this is.
Okay, right. So the announcer says, and our first chef, Solid Snake. And he walks to his station after this dodge roll?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't want to imply anything there. Okay, Nit, you've got to describe your slightly less extra chef?
Wait, hang on.
Hey,
let's
okay.
not make assumptions here.
All right.
Here's you. Like in the dark in the background, like probably between like two what are they called? Fucking cabinets or pantries or whatever, and like what looks like a black void on the screen that nobody really cares about because it's so far in the background. We see like that bisexual lighting, that like hot pink and that teal blue pop up,
Hell
and we see
yeah.
like this silhouette of like a woman, and then she walks forward, and if I cast her, I would cast her as a Palm Klimteef, who is like a mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy, was in the most recent series of Westworld, and she walks forward and she's just she's carrying like a metal suitcase, and then she's got like a couple of guys behind her who are carrying like these boxes, and like some of them, like one has a decal of a young girl who's got like red hair and what do they call the pigtails, and another one's got like an M that's yellow, and then another one's got like this weird clown with like a yellow hat and a bald nose, and they're just following behind her with all these totally legally distinct fast food boxes, and and she's dressed in like a black floral dye Vietnamese dress, and she's got like a suit jacket over, and she just kind of walks up very confidently up to her new stainless steel countertop, and her minions put down all these crates of supplies for her.
Minions.
And then yeah, and on the screen it reads Mac.
Okay. And the announcer, just like a normal person would announce something, just says, and our next chef, Mac. I can't wait for when we get the like smash cuts of what the chef, like their little like cooking montage at the beginning of the show. I can't wait, but we got to get to Rue's chef.
All right. Rouge Chef, I think, while all of this has been happening, has been like running in and out, still putting in last minute items. So when she comes out, she's dressed more like a welder than a chef. She's got like the welder's helmet on, and then she like pops it off and like takes it off and then throws it in the background. And she's got like a super like tough like apron, again like for a welding outfit, but then the rest of her clothes are regular chef's clothes. She is distinctly not smiling, or kind of just looks like she wants to be anywhere but here, and like anywhere but the spotlight. And her entire outfit is just all black, and then she just kind of like raises her hand, and then it just says like Ishia underneath it.
Okay, and the announcer says, and Ishia. All right, now my chef is a shortish guy. Now there is a normal entrance that chefs walk into when they come into the sound stage. I don't know, do you think Ishia went in the normal entrance?
Yeah, someone
Okay.
pointed her to the normal entrance.
So we have had 2 out of 4 chefs go through the normal entrance. I just want to point that out. That's already an unusual situation. So with that, Ishia has gone through the normal entrance. Now the last chef is like totally unassuming. Short guy, white guy, black hair, about 5'2", and maybe like 120 pounds. And it just says, and our last chef, Jamie Pierce. And he just walks on, and like walks over to his station, just like looks totally confused by everything going on. The minions, the big hole in the wall, the smoke, the molecular gastronomy station that's going on, all this like crazy science, and just stands here like this. This is it. That's the last guy. Okay, so with that, we've got 4 chefs who have now shown up here. We've got to do a little opening plug where we talk about, like, we need the montage. So we're gonna get the word Solid Snake to like roll across the screen here now, and then we're gonna go into, what do we see? What's the cooking montage for Solid Snake?
Solid Snake you just see him surrounded by these cooking appliances that look like repurposed army surplus devices. You get one shot of him just on behind this giant vat of stew that on the outside has that like radioactive symbol marked on it. You get a shot of him cooking something by throwing a grenade into the oven. And then the final shot is him just bursting out of a cardboard box, carrying a whole tray of gulab jamun.
Okay. That's very good. That's very good. So Solid Snake's name now like retreats across the screen, and we're going to go into our second shot, and we're going to see what Max got.
I think we get like a dramatic cooking show close up of like some hands chopping some vegetables and herbs for mise en place. But like if anybody who's like has eyes and is looking at the screen, clearly these are like a dude's hands, and like the skin color does not match Max at all. It's totally somebody else doing this work for her. and then we get like a wide shot of like this whole like fancy mise en place, like all done. Everything's like in those like a TV show, like in small bowls, individually parsed out in the perfect amounts. And then we see Mac like just picking off all these different things, like with tweezers, those obnoxious cooking tweezers, and like just plating on this beautiful like plate. And then the background is just like a bunch of fast food bags, just crumpled up.
I really need to watch your Monster of the Week show and see what this is all about. I have no context, and it's delicious and terrible. Okay, so let's see the Ishia cooking montage as Ishia rolls across the screen.
So my cooking montage starts off with just a bunch of pizzas that all have like indents in the middle of them that have creases. Just no other explanation, just that. And then it swaps over to her creating like just like some montages of her past creations, one of which is a SpaghettiOs jelly mold that she's just like cutting into. And then after that there's just a video of like again that like chemistry lab set with just really just awful looking liquids going through it. Just a lot more texture in those liquids than really needs to be in there.
Oh my god. I imagine it looks like a lava lamp where there's like different textures moving around.
There's some really bright colors in there that we don't want to think about.
God, it looks like it's glowing.
Wow, that is a thing that has happened. Okay, and yeah, are we good there? Do we want to see anything else from Ishia, or?
No, that's good. I think at the end she's just like doing that same pose where she just has her hand at the end. Again, no smile. Really
Awesome.
wants to be anywhere but here.
Okay, yeah, that's the way to go to a game show. All right, so Jamie Pierce is here to be the boring, straight person on this show and do nothing except cook. So you just get like the
boring. Sorry.
Yes, like I said, yes. It's
super.
I know. Thank you for pointing it out. Yeah, so we've got the like that's good. We've got like the fast knife cutting, just like chopping vegetables, throwing things in a pan. It's very much what people expect from a cooking show, and that is the part that I'm going to play for this cooking show. Is the person who cooks on a cooking show. So Jamie Pierce is just like, yeah, I've been in the kitchen since I was 15 years old, and just like cooking, flipping an omelet, cooking, flipping an omelet again. It's just gonna be omelets. I'm just gonna do all omelets today. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. And then Jamie Pierce. Off to the
Is Jamie
side.
the only one that actually talks in his montage?
I believe that's the case so far. Yeah. So with that, I think we've got a good idea of how this is going to go right here. Now here's the hard part. We have to pull back away from the cooking competition arena and turn and see the four judges that we have sitting over here to the side. So, Ajay, do you want to describe your judge? Let's
Yes.
introduce them.
So you see this fucking 1920s super sleuth man with this cocky tweed-like trench coat with a collar going up past his ears and a giant hat that obscures half his face. And he's just standing behind a desk, somehow shrouded in darkness despite the stage lights, seeming to be lit only by this obnoxiously ornate wooden pipe. And the Chiron just says, Rondo Maynard, private eye.
Now, traditionally, the announcer would say a few things to introduce your judge. Like, Rondo Maynard comes from. Do we have any idea where Rondo Maynard comes from?
I come from all over the world. I'm from nowhere in the world. You can call me a man of mystery, except I solve mysteries.
And that's very good. And moving on to our next chef, we're going to move on to Nit's chef. Judge. Nit, who's your judge?
My judge, we get the camera like turns around on the swivel. It doesn't even cut, it just turns around, and we look at the audience, and then some guy all the way in the back of the audience stands up, and we get like these lights from nowhere where like it's those dramatic like spotlights that like cross over and everything, and like all the crowd recognizes this judge before the audience, and like it's a judge who's like wearing a chef's coat that's like bright red, and it's got some white lettering on the chest, and he's holding hands, like kissing babies, all this stuff, and he's handing out big boxes of KitchenAid mixers, and like everybody's cheering, and he's coming down, he's handing away mixers and rolling pins and all this KitchenAid branded stuff, all the classic cherry red and white. And he gets down and he waves and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like I'll have more for you after the show." And then he looks at the camera, he's like, "Hi, my name is Gus Stone. I, of course, you know me from my show where we promote my show on whatever what's that marketing show, the shopping channel,
Shopping channel, Q, you name it, yeah.
Yeah, you know me, you love me, of course, and we're going to be here to support the show and support our friends over at KitchenAid."
I would like to point out to everybody else that this is an aggressive call out of the last time that Nit and I played the game together, and this was my chef, who I rolled very, very poorly. There was no chance I was going to win the game, and so I decided that my chef was there to endorse products. So.
Oh yeah, and totally it says like his name, Gus KitchenAid Stone, and then like under that it says previous winner of kitchen contest.
Yeah, which I did not do. But anyways, that's okay. I appreciate this aggressive call out. Thank you. All right, Rue, we're going to go through your judge.
Okay. To go along with all this really bizarre lighting that is happening all at the same time, my judge is not at the table yet, so all the lights go off, and then just this really weird Technicolor background with a lot of bubbles around it shows up, and then a girl silhouetted in rainbow is seen, but it looks like she's wearing a regular schoolgirl outfit. And then I won't play too much of this. I don't know if you can hear this actually. Starts playing. I won't play too much more because I don't want us to get copyright strikes. And just like a whole magical girl transformation happens. At the end, a girl in like a little schoolgirl outfit comes out. There's a giant bee on the top, and she just comes out and says, "Hi, I'm Sailor Jupiter, no relation to the other Sailor Jupiter." And she just takes a seat.
I love this game so much already, all of you.
Hans, to round it out, you also need to infringe some copyright.
I did not plan that. I planned something different, which is the final chef is sitting on a chair, but the chair is roughly half the width of the person who is sitting on the chair, because they are enormous and very wide. They have like an enormous muscular torso. They're wearing one of those suit jackets where they can button it, but it looks like the button is threatening to pop at any second, because they are NFL linebacker Jeff Fine, who is an enormous guy with just like a shaved head, like slightly tan skin color, and he is barely able to sit on this stool. It is a ridiculous size stool for such a large guy. And instead of actually introducing him, they just show like this quick cut to like last week's NFL game where they played the sports ball, and it just shows him like running down the field and somebody else is running. He just like aggressively tackles someone and they just like go flying in the air. And so now Jeff Fine is sitting here and they say, "Introducing Jeff Fine." He goes, "Thanks, I like food."
Can I interrupt that real quick? Like
Sure.
A hand that belongs to Mac comes in from out of frame and hands him a business card. Says, "Just call me."
Yeah, and Jeff Fine, like, he can't actually reach the pocket in his jacket because there's just way too much muscle going on there, and it was, upper body day, so he can't do that. So he just, like, puts it into his, like, Pants pocket, maybe, I don't know. We see something off screen. So we've got all of these excellent chefs and all of these excellent judges, and there's no way anything bad will happen during this game. We're moving on to the next page of the PDF, where we have to choose ingredients. And I would like to offer each of you the chance to be the setter for one of the ingredients for this show. So you have to roll 2d6. And Ajay, you've had to go first for everything, so you might as well do the appetizer. This is course 1.
All right. Let's roll some 2d6.
And you have to roll it and then roll it again, just to have you totally prepared.
All right. First is the 2 and a 6.
Okay, so that ends up being an 8. So we have a sweet ingredient during this appetizer. My definition of what a sweet ingredient is very unusual, so we may get something weird here. So now you have to roll 2d6 one more time and see what we're going to get.
5 and 5.
5 and 5, so we got a 10. So course 1 involves macadamia nuts. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Nit, you're going to roll course 2, which is our main course.
All right, that is a 6 and 1.
6 and 1, so we've got a 7. So we're on another sweet ingredient. This is going to be good. It's all sweet all the time. And what's our second 2d6 roll?
4 and 4 makes 8. I can math.
You did. You mathed well. Okay. Green cardamom pods. I know this is not technically sweet, but it didn't fall into the savory, so I have a very loose definition of what these two things are. I only have sweet and savory.
Sweet.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah,
I've used it in
I've seen it in
diet.
dessert.
I mean, I've seen it in a lot of desserts too. I don't know if it itself counts as sweet. I would say that I don't know how common it is in anything, really. Let's just stop there. Number 3, Rue, do you want to roll 2d6? This is for our dessert course. Watch as we get cuttlefish for our dessert course.
Alright, I got a 1 and a 6.
Okay, so we're on a 7, so we're still sweet ingredients. This is great, because everybody here is so sweet, that's why we've got this. Okay, one more 2d6 roll.
Okay. 6 and a 3.
6 and a 3 is a 9. Finger limes. Okay. This is actually a really good dessert. I mean, I like this combo of all these things. This is actually like a flavor profile I would eat. Okay,
What was
so
the
in our
last one?
finger limes. So this is micro citrus.
Finger lime.
Yeah, this is at least. I mean, if you don't have to Google at least one thing while playing this game, it's okay. But I feel like people should. So with that, course 1 involves macadamia nuts.
Bonkers.
They are weird. Course 2 involves green cardamom pods. Course 3 involves finger limes. So everyone look forward to all these delicious, delicious courses. I'm kind of like thinking about them right now. So we're going to go on to... I think I have enough screen space for some course things. Let's put this in there. We'll do course contents. All right, here we go. 1. Two green cardamom. Okay, let's see if I can actually make this fit on the screen. I'll do it as a medium. We'll keep it at size. We'll throw it up there. That looks good. I like that. Okay, that should now be on the screen too, in case we forget what we're doing. And Kevin also did the same exact thing that I should have done there. That's also perfect. Thank you. So with all that, we are ready to start cooking. We're all going to roll 1 die to see who has to go first in describing things, unless we want to just keep the same exact thing that we've got now. Do we want to just keep our current, like, we go Ajay, Kevin, Rue, me? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Randomization is for different games, not for this one. We've already done that. So with that, we've described the opening scene. We all got to meet the chefs and the judges. We talked about the kitchen. So this is where I would have talked about the kitchen, but I think we've got everything. We know what the stations look like. We know the judges are off to the side. We talked about our live audience. So all those things are pretty set. Now, how do we get our ingredients? Do we feel like there is a mad rush to get ingredients or anything else like that? Or do we feel like this is just kind of like a, go ahead and cook something, have fun?
Do you want some peanuts? Do you want some of these peanuts?
I'm into Mad Rush. I don't know about y'all.
I like Mad Rush, yeah.
I can believe that from everybody involved in this game, yes. So with that, I mean, so we've got to play up how these rounds go. So the thing is, we have dice, and we already know what they are. We know that what we have to do is, from our pool of dice, we have to select 2 dice to make the number 6 if we want to win this round. So with that in mind, all we have to do is like think about what dice we want those to be, and then as we narrate through the scene of like, we'll start out with the Mad Rush, then we'll talk about a scene of our chefs cooking, and then we'll have our judges tasting the appetizer that we've made, and then we're basically just describing at this point and picking dice out of our pool. So with that, Jay, do you want to describe when the timer goes off, when the bell hits, what does Solid Snake do in the rush to go get ingredients?
Solid Snake immediately just throws out some capsule at the ingredients table, and with a poof, a giant balloon just pops up on top of the table and lifts the entire thing and just brings it right to him. Just some things are just tumbling off the sides.
So this is definitely slanted in the favor of Solid Snake at this point. So let's talk about how Mac's going to respond to this. What's Mac going to do?
Mac, we cut to Mac, and like she's just on her phone, like texting, and then the camera like looks like all the producers are like, "What the hell's going on?" And then they see a bunch of the minions are at the table, like grabbing stuff and putting them in boxes to bring over. And then we also see one minion go into the audience and like grab some of this free KitchenAid swag, like from the audience, like, "We need this." Fucking just grabs it, and they all just like converge back on Mac, who's like very calmly texting. And then we see like another minion come in from off stage, like with another like box of fast food, and she just looks up like, "Okay, I expected all this to be here. Thank you, you did your jobs."
Wow, very nice. Okay, so let's talk about Ishia's reaction to all this. What's going to happen there?
Ishia has pulled out a whiteboard from who knows where. All of a sudden, there's a whiteboard behind her, and she's just listing down like recipes, and she's got pine nuts on it, and then pasta, and then she has like a conversion to macaroni and cheese and macadamia nuts. The poor man's pasta with pine nuts. I got it.
That's pretty awesome, though. I like that. Okay, so our final chef, Jamie Pierce, we see like the whole table's been lifted up, and then he just like turns and walks over to Solid Snake's table. And you know that thing where you don't want to actually engage with somebody, but you just like politely ask for something anyways? He just says like, "I'm just going to take a little bit of this over here," and just like grabs a couple things off.
Go for it.
We've got some, okay, thanks. We've got like some graham cracker crust and like some eggs and milk. He's just like grabbing things and like walking back to his table. Poor Jamie. This is so overwhelming. It's going to be so good. That's really what I like in games, is I like to feel overwhelmed at everything happening. It's very real. Okay, so let's talk about the chef's cooking. So what do we see from Solid Snake during this cooking montage? What's happening?
What's happening? You see him. It's unclear where he got a katana from. But he's using it to cut an obscene amount of red onion. An obscene amount of red onion, and behind him you see a small stove that looks like it was pulled out of a mech, heating a bunch of puffed rice, and just holding up this little like matrix looking communicator and just says, "Colonel, where's the lime? I need some lime for this." Click.
Okay, I think we all got what we wanted out of that. That's very good. So Nit, what are we going to see Mac do for this cooking part?
Yeah, we see all of Mac's minions like in a line doing an assembly. Like one reaches into a fast food bag and hands it to the next person, and like hands a sandwich wrapper. The other unwraps it. The next like takes the buns off of a legally distinct Big Mick and like takes the top, middle and bottom buns and like dumps all the other stuff in a bowl, and then hands the buns over to Mac, and Mac like just kind of just starts gently tearing them up, and then we see another minion on the other side like sort of just pulsing a food processor full of macadamia nuts.
Okay, I'm not going to ask about that part yet. We're not at that part where I have to ask what's happening to macadamia nuts yet. No, I'm not going to ask. Okay, Rue, what's going on with Ishia and this poor man's pasta with pine nuts?
So she's I think there's like a camera near her, so she's like soft describing what she's doing. She's very soft spoken, so you can like barely hear her. The camera person has to be like incredibly close to her. And she's just like, so now I'm cutting up the macadamia nuts to look like pine nuts. And then she's just like, you see her like meticulously cutting up macadamia nuts into pine nut shapes. And then there's just like a pot of macaroni going on the side.
How perfectly do each of these cuts look like a macadamia nut when they're done? Is this like spot on?
There are a lot of mistakes that are just on the side of just like macadamia nuts that have been like smashed, and she's like, okay, that's not gonna work. And then there's like 3 that are actually looking like pine nuts that she's put into her like, yes, these are correct bowl.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. Jamie is going to continue being very boring. That's important to me right now. He has all the graham crackers like crushed up and like making a little crust out of that, and it's like already in the oven. And then he's like whipping up a custard. He's like making an egg custard and like simmering it over the stove, and then like putting it into the crust. It's got to be very boring. There's macadamia nuts in the crust. There's a little bit of macadamia nuts that's been like grated very fine into the custard, and he's putting all that together. And again, like compared to the things that are going on in these other shots, I almost like would like a black and white lens to come over the camera when Jamie's cooking, and just like everything gets boring. Just like go, just like knife going down on the board, just like pan heating over the stove, whisk. I wish they could like make it both black and white and slow it down, and maybe throw in some of those like exaggerated sound effects where it's like that choo 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 when he's like stirring. It looks so slow and so uninteresting by comparison. I'm fine with that. This is exactly what I'm going for, of course. We are about to get to the judging part, so I'm going to scroll way down here to where we're at page 10, order of play. We have started the course. This is now officially where we will take our turn. And what do we want to do? Secondarily, how many turns do we want to take? My thought is that last time we played this, 1 turn per person was sufficient. If we want to have 2 turns per course, we can have 2 turns, but in some points it's like it's almost too much. So, is there anybody who objects to having... Yeah, 1?
I think 1.
1 is good.
Let's do 1. So with that, everybody's going to take a turn in the same order, and your choices are to transform, where you're going to take one of the dice in your pool and re-roll it. You can sabotage and make somebody else re-roll one of their dice, or you can savor, and you just enjoy how good you are at what you're doing for this round. And then we have some commentary here from the judges, where I think after each person's turn, at least one of us will comment on the chef's technique from the perspective of the judge. So, Jay, as we have set up, you are the first one out.
I will continue to savor.
In round 1, I think it's nice to be able to savor. So, do we have any additional cooking scenes we want to see from Snake at this point?
One of them, we get a full-on like Metal Gear Solid codec call, complete with like that like old 90s cell phone ringing sound, and just ring. Colonel, I think I'm doing great. This jot looks incredible, and I have the perfect plan for how to introduce these strange nuts. Snake out.
I'm a child. I can't.
Okay. Is there anybody in particular who would like to be a judge commenting on Snake's jot that they're making?
Oh, I would like to.
Okay.
Throughout the entire time that Solid Snake has been cooking, Sailor Jupiter has just been like this, like just staring, and then also trying to toss like ketchup bottles at him to get him on his shirt. He's like, it would be so terrible if his shirt got covered in ketchup, and then he would have to take it off, and then all the replacement clothes we have burned in mysterious fire, and he would have to cook shirtless for the rest of the time.
Is there like a cutaway shot where some of the production assistants are talking about the production wardrobe room being on fire? Is the room actually on fire right now?
There's just a pile of clothes that is just mysteriously firing like in a burst of flames, but it's just contained to the clothes. And at that time, there's like also just like extra information about Sailor Jupiter, like running underneath her that like her powers are fire.
I think one thing that does survive the fire is an exact copy of Snake's jumpsuit, but it's leopard print.
Wow.
Sailor Jupiter's just like, that's strange.
Poor Snake. That would be terrible. I hope nothing happens where ketchup gets on their clothing. That would be terrible. Okay, so do we need any more context color there, or are we ready for the second turn, which is going to be Knit's turn? Okay, Knit, I think you're up.
It's hard to top the thirsty Sailor Jupiter.
Look,
I mean, it's Snake.
we're playing this game for charity, but we're also playing this game for ourselves, so we're going to have fun
Yeah.
while we're here.
Yes.
If we're moving on to Mac, Mac has reached over for the bowl that had all the Big Mac like fillings and like is like tearing up the beef patties and like tossing it and then adding Big Mac sauce to that, and has like another minion like sort of toasting the bread that she tore up, and then like I think this is like all a side shot, like a dramatic lineup of her and all her minions, and like in the far background, out of focus, we see another minion like coming out of nowhere, going up to I'm sorry, going up to Jimmy. I'm so bad at this. I'm sorry.
Are we talking about Jeff Fine, the judge? Is that what we're going
Jeff.
for? Or are we going
No,
to
no,
Jimmy Pierce, the chef?
Jimmy Pierce.
Okay.
I knew it was Jimmy. Yeah, we see one of these minions going up to Jimmy, and like Mac is apparently is going for a sabotage, and they are just going to go up to a stove and say like, "Hey, do you know where I can find?" And like while Jimmy's actually being helpful, because Jimmy's a normal good person,
Yes,
this
yes.
minion's like reaching behind the cooktop and like ripping out the gas line from his cooktop.
Nice. Okay, I like that as a sabotage. That's working out really well for me. So I've got all these dice on the screen. Which one do you want me to re-roll?
I would like you to re-roll your 6. Let's
Okay.
No, actually, let's make that one of your 3s.
Are you sure? Because I mean, the threes, I've got 3 threes.
Yeah, but your 6s. Yeah, let's go with the 6. That's
Okay, yeah, I got to say that would hurt me more because my current plan is use 2 threes for this round, use a 6 and 5 for the second round, and then you just lose on the third round right now. So yeah, this is good. Okay, so I'm going to roll 1d6. Roll 20, give me another 3. So with that, let me change out my dice. Yep, this is good. I'm on the right screen. 3, 3, 3. Okay, I've got a lot of 3s at this point. So that's cool, and works out real well for me. Okay, so thank you for that sabotage. Appreciate that. Does anybody want to add some color commentary on this cooking that's going on?
I would like to.
Okay.
We just cut to a shot of Rondo Mairn, just giving this like million-yard stare at the assembly line that Mac has put together and just muttering to himself. There's something strange about the way that this operation's going. There's something strange about sourcing of the ingredients, the organization. It all feels weirdly mechanized. I'm frankly struggling for words here. There's a mystery here. It's like a donut, and there's a hole in the middle, and I'm not quite sure what fits in the donut hole inside of the hole of the donut. But there's something there. There's a mystery afoot. I'm glad I'm here to solve it.
Okay, I'm going to throw in some color commentary there. So our final judge, how do you pronounce his first name again? Rondo, that's right?
Rondo, yeah.
Rondo. Okay, so the final judge, Jeff Fine, turns over, like, not really moving his neck very much, mostly moving his body on this tiny stool, over to Rondo and says, I think that's a sandwich. It's a sandwich they're making. It's not a donut.
The donut's a metaphor. You know, it's not a literal donut. I know that. Unless it's a bagel. Bagel's technically a donut that's savory.
Okay. Jeff turns on his stool again, and we will move on to Rue's turn.
That happens during this in the background. Sailor has also just been trying to toss more ketchup bottles at Mac, but the minions keep getting in the way, so all of her minions have like ketchup stains.
I think at this point some of it gets onto Snake as well. And you just get ketchup.
Just here in the background, yes.
I think as the camera's focusing on that, KitchenAid is like talking like very low, like covering up his mic. He's like, "Well, I think Rondo, I don't know. I think technically a sandwich or a donut could be a sandwich in this very specific, ridiculous case." That's for you, Simon. That's for you.
Oh, we don't need more than one round for this game. This is it. This is all we're gonna get done. It's great. Okay. Let's see. So, Rue, in terms of a move, would you like to perform a transform, sabotage, or savor for your character?
I think I'll go with Saver for now.
Savor's good.
So she's discovered that using the what is the tool that the like chop thing that like they had infomercials on?
Flout Shop?
Yeah.
I can tell you that it's something by KitchenAid that Gus Stone has been representing to the studio, probably.
Yeah, it like magically appeared on her table at some point and got a really good close-up. She's been using that, and somehow the macadamia nuts have been perfectly coming out, looking like pine nuts from that. So she's using that, and she's been just tossing that in as like into a sauce that she's making that looks very, very like neon yellow. It's got that like radioactive like. You've ever had like cheese fries like at any point it's got that kind of like radioactive yellow tone, just looks very unnatural, but that's what she's making the sauce out of, and then she's throwing these macadamia nuts, faux pine nuts in.
That went from scary to like a really appealing in like 2 words.
I gotta admit, you're right. Yeah, that doesn't sound bad at all.
I am not a chef. I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's got that Taco Bell chic to it.
Yeah.
So who wants to talk about this cheese?
I think KitchenAid. Gus Stone is going to talk about it. He's like, you know what? I really admire Ishia's use of tools. But I can only wish that she had selected the correct tools. Possibly this pump chopping item from KitchenAid coming fall 2022. Pre-order yours now in cherry red, in cream, vanilla cream, and like he's just talking like he's totally just not focusing on your cooking at all, but he's like trying to co-opt your scene to like just promote.
Gus. Don't worry. Sometimes using the wrong tool for the right reasons is exactly what you need to be doing for this caliber of cooking excellence.
That's really interesting thought. What if this KitchenAid tool is the wrong tool and the right tool?
See, Gus? Now you're thinking like she's thinking. Masterful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I'm gonna take my turn. I've got Jamie Pierce. He's been cooking this egg custard tart, and now he realizes suddenly, like he goes in and takes a peek, and it's like not done. And I think this is one of the most fun moments in any cooking show, when someone realizes they have not actually like prepared the dish they think they did have. So he's like looking really panicked, looking around, thinking about it for a second, goes around the back, sees the unplugged gas range, and like really quickly tightens it back up. You would think the gas would have tipped him off, but I mean, that's not how it worked. So with that, I'm going to try to transform and see if I can get my 6 back from one of those 3s. We're going to see. No, I got a 5. A 5's better. So let me update dice. I just don't trust Nid. I know I'm going to need that later on. So with that, hopefully that'll show up in a second here. And yeah, any color commentary there? If not, I can do my own about the gas range being unplugged and plugged back in.
I want to hear
I
Jeff
know
Fine's
whatever.
take on this.
Oh yeah, I could do that. He says, I've done that before when you're cooking and you think you're cooking, but then you realize that you didn't have the heat on. When you're cooking, you have to make the food hot, or it doesn't cook. This is probably very mean to people who actually play football, but I am committed to this role right now.
Tanner, sit down and eat your sandwich.
I
Um,
absolutely agree, Jeff.
No, sit.
I don't know about you, but I sense some foul play at hand here.
Sit down.
You know, this reminds me of the incident on another cooking show from across the pond, the Great British Baking something or other, where in which there was some baked Alaska taken out of the freezer. You know, this seems real suspicious to me. I'm not sure, but it makes for great TV.
Has anybody else seen that Great British Bake Off where they take the baked Alaska out of the fridge? I was livid watching that. I was
Yes.
so angry.
What's a baked Alaska?
Okay, so you have a dessert, which is a sponge. Is it a sponge? And then it's got ice cream on top, and then it has a meringue over the top, which has been burned with a torch. So you have a meringue that keeps the ice cream. It's like an ice cream cake. It's the original ice cream cake, is basically what it comes down to. And so on this particular episode of Great British Bake Off, everybody has their ice cream cakes that they've all put in the fridges, and there's not enough fridge space for everyone. So one contestant takes another contestant's ice cream cake out of the fridge and leaves it just on the counter. And I cannot think of anything that is dirtier or more rotten in the history of the universe. It is the lowest of all blows.
God, that's brutal.
Yeah.
And like
That's
it's
grounds
played
for
off.
murder right there.
It's played
Yeah.
off like, oh, it was an imminent mistake. She's like an older white lady, so it's like, oh my. But it was all played like he overreacted when he threw his in the trash and just had a fit.
Yeah, he
Like,
threw it in the trash and walked out of the tent afterwards.
He rage quit
Oh.
100%, but like
Yep.
you deservedly so.
Oh yeah, I'd rage quit.
Yeah, and then that episode ends. They have to dismiss everybody every show. So he ejected himself. So he just says like, "No, I'm done. That's it." And so they didn't have to get rid of anybody. But then on the next episode, the lady is mysteriously gone.
Make it
So
seem
they-
like it's some Agatha Christie intro.
Okay, but they never directly call her out and say like, because of her crimes last week, she's gone. They just say she's declined to continue because they're British and very polite. So they don't actually call her out on her very, very bad behavior.
Take some bites.
So yes, everybody should watch that particular episode. I think that's in the most current season on Netflix.
No, I think I saw
Maybe
that one a
it's-
couple of years ago. on
Maybe it's way
Netflix,
back.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, investigation for later. But for right now, that's what we're basically dealing with is foul play of the worst kind. So it's now time to have the judges see the food that's been presented. So we're at the end of course, which is page 12 on the PDF, and we're all going to be taking 2 of our dice out of our pools and selecting them to be the dice that we present. The number that we are trying to meet right now is 6, so if you get a 6, you're going to have a very good result. If you get like a 7 or like a 5, it's pretty good. If you submit like a 2, I think we should throw your entry in the trash because that's how it goes. But let's go around real quick and figure out, starting with a J, what dice you want to present.
I'm throwing down a 3 and a 3. Solid Snake's coming at this hard.
That is the way to play the game. You want to win. So with that, I'm going to put your 3 and your 3 in parentheses here so that people can tell that's been presented. Okay, because I think I'm going to run out of screen space if I keep doing equals. Nit, what do you want to do?
I am taking my 5 and 1 for this round to get that 6.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I am getting that set up on the screen. And Rue, what do you want to do?
I'm also gonna do a 5 and a 1.
5 and a 1, perfect. Okay, so we've got that arranged, and because of my blessing where I have just this multitude of 3s, I'm going to do 2 3s. Yep. 3, 3, and there's that. Okay, so we've got all of our dice set aside, and let me do a transition so we can see that on the screen in a second. I push transition, so that should do it. So once that comes through, we should be able to see that everybody has... I think that's better. Nit's stuff is too close together, I can't see it well. Okay, so we know now where everybody's numbers are going to come through, and that we're going to end up, everybody gets a 6. So we're looking for very good results and judges that are pleased with the presentation of this food. Let's have Solid Snake present his dish.
So, for the appetizer, I have made some classic Mumbai Chai. This is a husband's favorite of back from the last time we were in Mumbai. He's from Mumbai. I went up to a street cart salesman, and then using some classic moves, I managed to procure the recipe through top secret espionage, and I've brought it to this show. He immediately pulls out the codec. Colonel, what's this show called?
And of course, the announcer's right there. So he says, this show's called Kitchen Contest.
Kitchen contest.
Okay, so we've got a Mumbai Chat, and let's talk about this as judges. Like, what's the flavor profile like? If we go down to the very end of this PDF, there are some tasting note ideas, which I don't think cover every possible thing, but we have some things we can talk about. This is on page 18. Jay, what are some things you think that we would be saying about this dish?
It's got this, like, juxtaposition of sweet and savory, like the nuts and a bit of this tamarind chutney gets this like sweet notes that are immediately counteracted by like bhujia, other like fried carbs and onions and spices, and a little bit of basil. I think basil, or is it mint? No, it's coriander. And
Okay.
so there's like 5 different flavors going on all at once, that are kind of in this beautiful brawl of flavors that all just kind of come to you at once.
Okay, that's good. So, judges in order. Let's start with, I think we're going to skip Rondo so that we can have everybody focus on their one character. Let's talk about Gus KitchenAid Stone.
Yeah. KitchenAid, he takes a bite. He produces his own spoon, cherry red, of course. And he takes a bite, and he's like, he has like what looks like an epiphany. Like, holy shit, food can be more than just mayonnaise. And he said he like starts stammering like this it's so layered and oh my, these seasons, what's the seasoning, what is this? Snake, you gotta please you gotta tell me how did you accomplish such complex just things in your dish?
I requisition the highest in culinary top secret technologies. Courtesy of some random dude I met in Mumbai. I think his name was... What was his name? I think it was Rahul.
It's very good. Thank you for making the worst possible version of my character that I used to play. With that, let's continue on. Rue, can we have some Sailor Jupiter on this?
Yeah, she's. I don't know how spicy this is, but she's like eating it, and she's like, "Wow, this is so spicy! It's making me cry, but in a good way." And then she's just like these like anime tears are like flying off of her face that are like sparkling.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
You hear like the whisper of the producer, like, wait, do we have budget for these effects? Like, what effects?
She's like, "Don't worry, the city will cover it."
That's a good one. I like that one a lot. I think Jeff Fine is just eating like this very small bowl with this very big hand. I'm sorry, I could be totally wrong. What are our serving utensils for a shot? Is this something you eat with your hand or
Usually
no?
a spoon.
Okay,
Spoon
that sounds like so much better than how I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking of it as like a dry snack right now, but this is what do you think, consistency wise?
It's like, because they have onion and lime in it,
Uh-huh.
so you have to eat it pretty quick, or else all the crunch kind of goes away.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so with a spoon, Jeff Fine, very small spoon, very small bowl, very big guy, and it's just like gone in like 2 bites. He's like, "It's good. Can I have more?"
Gladly. I made extra.
Which is really good because that's one of the cardinal mistakes on these shows is not having enough in case something goes wrong. Good stuff. Okay. Okay.
Run real quick and get a
I
drink.
think I'm ready. Knit. Presentation time.
Mac is going to come up along with a couple of minions. She carries one plate and delivers it, and then the minions also, in a very coordinated fashion, place their plates in front of the judges. And it's like this is very much that fine like Western dining where it's like a huge bowl or plate and like a tiny little bit of food right in the middle. And it's like it's got toasted. It's mostly toasted bread and like some lettuce and some like broken up beef with like toasted macadamia nuts on top. And then Mac presents it as this is a deconstructed bread salad with a macadamia topping. Please enjoy.
I'm so angry. Okay, does somebody want to make a comment? Does somebody want to make a commentary on this? I'm just having such a. This is so good.
I'm frankly baffled by the flavor profile. It's this grotesque cacophony of richness, but yet somehow has a flavor profile of a dirty 1950s highway joint, while yet retaining the air of high cuisine. I'm frankly flummoxed. I don't know how she's doing this, but something seems missing. I'm frankly baffled, but I love it. Baffled, but I love it. It's incredible.
I did forget the part where I should have asked Nit if we want to have any particular tasting notes on this dish.
I think there's some crunch from the bread and like some creaminess from the special sauce, but mostly she's like baking on that nostalgia, like when you're a little kid and you want fast food, and like you're in the back of the car and you want fast food, and Dad's either like, we got fast food at home, or doesn't get some black coffee.
That's right, the black coffee. That's me. Okay. So Rue, what does Sailor Jupiter think of this deconstructed food?
Sailor Jupiter, she's already like, she just ate the whole thing like in one bite and it's gone. She's fast food is definitely her her go-to. She's like, wow, this tastes both like things that I eat every day and also very, very different. I'm very confused about how I feel about this, but I think it's good. Also, as she like says that, like just from the background, she's trying to lob another ketchup bottle at Mac that gets smacked away by a minion. And she's like,
Yes.
darn it! Like, get out of the way, you minions!
I have to ask too, what's up with these ketchup bottles? Are they branded a particular way? Like, is there a label on these ketchup bottles that we should be recognizing?
Oh, that's a good idea.
that'd
Yeah,
be
they're
nice.
all like her Sailor Scouts. They've got like stickers of her, like whatever her group of Sailor Scouts is.
Okay.
I have not thought of a name yet. I haven't gotten that far in my backstory.
It's good. I just want to make sure they weren't
Suggest
from a
Maggie?
popular.
And I think it's
Yes.
got to
Oh
be
my gosh,
Maggie.
Yeah,
It's gotta be Maggie.
It's got to be that
Maggie.
like kind of spicy Maggie that you just can't get in the States.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, Vinithia
That's
just
so
said
interesting.
Maggie chick.
Magic. See, that's
That's
interesting
what it
because y'all
is.
say Maggie. Like me and my family and like folks I know, we say Maggie.
Really?
Interesting. I've always heard it as Maggie.
I've just assumed it was pronounced Maggie. I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me otherwise. So, see, that's cool. I mean, that's what you get when you deal with different groups.
It's pronounced differently every time they sell it.
That's probably right. There we go. Yeah, so Jeff Fine has, I mean, again, the plate is this big, but, you know, this is no food on this plate, so it's gone already. Like, by the time the camera pans over to him, it's just gone. And he says, this reminds me of, and then there's like just a long beep, because for whatever reason, we're not going to give away the name of this particular fast food establishment, but we can say KitchenAid 35 times during this show. I mean, go figure. I mean, somebody's not paying for their product endorsement, so you just beep, and we'll just end on that note.
We get the Eric Andre. We'll be right back.
That's good. Okay, we gotta talk about Ishia's beautiful pasta.
Yeah. So she pulls out the 3 bowls. They're like plain white bowls of this mac and cheese and macadamia nuts that look like pine nuts that she's thrown on some extra as garnish, and then for good measure she's put just like drops of like Tabasco sauce on top of it. So all of it just has like little like drops of Tabasco sauce on top of it. And then she just presents it to everyone. She's like, I like to deconstruct my food and then reimagine it in ways that are both disgusting and intriguing. I feel like discomfort is where you get the best flavors. Thank you, judges. And then she just walks away.
Wow, I like that. That's good.
Just to say, Sailor Jupiter looks very perplexed by this statement and has so far not touched her food.
That's fair. Let's see. Do you have tasting notes for us on how this should be presented?
That's a good question. Let's see. Definitely for plating, colorful. I think it's. Let's see. I'm gonna go with melt in your mouth. She has made this pasta. She has like really cooked that pasta. It is like falling apart. like
Oh god. Al dente, what's that?
I don't speak French.
Oh my. Oh my.
I would go with well blended as well.
Like as Isha is describing this, you just hear like this like pained coughing from off screen, and the camera just like that one camera just like abruptly like turns and shakes as you see Rondo just like puking into a barrel and then just pauses.
No,
stops,
thanks, Sander. I'm
and
busy
immediately
right
just
now.
keeps eating, just like,
Ask Mama to do it.
something's afoot about this dish. It tastes like a crime, but yet it's a crime I can't turn my eyes away from, or my tongue, proverbially.
Okay. Nit?
Yeah, I think that that Gaston KitchenAid, he's digging in. He's going full ham on this, like, and he's like, you know what? It's just like Mom's. I can't believe it. Wow, how did you know? But like the richness of the macadamia nuts and pasta, and like the acidity of the pasta, it's so smooth. My God, it's like you put it in a KitchenAid food processor. But you did it. Somehow, you got that essence of the KitchenAid brand into a dish. And yeah,
Do your own work.
you
Do your work.
you really leveraged just
Xander, please don't talk right here.
and oh my God, I can't. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And Jeff is just chewing on his mac and cheese. He goes, "It's good. There's nuts in this. It's creamy." And I didn't quite mean for the voice to go in that direction, but it did. So I am stuck now with that. That's just that.
Incredible.
Yeah. Let's go into round 2. This is our entree
What
round.
about Jamie?
What about our? Oh my gosh! I totally forgot I have a chef. Okay, I'm here and I am not in any way distracted by all of the things going on. This is a normal day, right? So Jamie presents a plate of tarts that have an egg custard in them. There's macadamia nut in the crust and on top, and a little like powdered rim around the edge. So they've got a like delicate nutty texture. Their consistency is gummy. The outside, the crust itself is perfect. It's not over and underdone. The flavor is at best subtle. I think it's mostly an egg custard, but with a little bit of macadamia nut in it. And Jamie just like very unassumingly just puts them in. He's like, "This is an egg custard," and here you go. All right, and enjoy. That's pretty much it.
Wow. Just wow. There's this rustic quality and yet somehow rustic in the same way as an old haunted mansion. Somehow you're just brought back to this old 1830s Victorian mansion where all the doors creak a little bit and everything just seems so familiar, yet nah, I think it's macadamia nuts. They just take this familiar egg custard and they just throw it in this completely different direction. Nothing is huge and yet everything.
Rondo is a gem. I'm gonna have to play the Outer Worlds at this rate if it's as good as all this. How much of the game would you say Rondo features in? Is it like 90%? Like,
Oh, I'm basing this off Benoit Blanc from Knives Out.
okay, I totally got the wrong reference. How did I get that as a reference? I don't know how I
I
did
have
that.
no idea where you got that.
I am having a day. All right, I'm just gonna leave it right there. Benoit Blanc,
We all
Knives
have
Out.
this day.
Totally paying attention to everybody's lives right now. Okay, pardon me. Yeah. Anybody else want to give some commentary, or do we want to get ready for our second half?
I think KitchenAid. He's eating this tart. He's like got a slice and he's taking. He's like, it tastes so good. But what's most impressive is that it tastes consistently like every other egg tart I've had. You know what? We can mass produce these. We could brand them. How about adding some red food dye to the custard and to the crust and to the packaging? And but you know what? Let my people will call your people and we'll work something out. We'll get you a deal here. We'll
That's
get you a
good.
deal, James.
Yeah, he
We'll get you
doesn't
on the
quite
shopping
put the
channels.
word KitchenAid right on the thing, but he's ready to, right? I mean,
Sailor is eating it, and she's like, "This is such a welcome respite after the crime scene. That was the last out food. I would have eaten it, but I'm off the clock right now, and I can't destroy crime at the time."
that's good. That's good.
Also, I did not mean for that to rhyme, but that happened.
That sounds like how it works. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
you get, right?
That's just part of being this fucking sailor.
Oh man.
Out of curiosity, Sailor Jupiter, you said you also fight crime?
Yes, I do, but only from 9 to 5.
So do I. And he just like pulls like a business card out of where you wouldn't expect the jacket pocket to be there, but he pulls out a business card and just give me a call.
The seam blends in with the plaid. It's expertly tailored.
She takes it and she's like, "I don't have any pockets in this outfit."
That's the crime.
That's fair. That's real fair.
I think we get a quick shot of like Max station, and all of her minions are like, "Wait, what? They're cops? What?" And Max just like, "Shut up, relax. You didn't say there'd be cops here. Relax." I said.
I'm not a cop. I find that offensive.
I'm a private investigator. I
See?
don't deal with cops.
No cops.
Exactly. See, they're fine.
Abolish them.
I mean, we're on board
Everybody
with this,
looks
Will.
at the camera and nods.
Yes, yes. At the bottom of the screen, it just says no cops. That's fine. Defund the police. We're fine with that. What have I got going on here? I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna leave that one off. Okay.
That's
There
why
we go.
they're minions and not the boss.
Yep. So here's a question for all of you. We're about to go into our second course. Does anybody want 5 minutes to take a break real quick? We're about halfway through here. Or are y'all doing well?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Dude, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If we can push on, then we will continue pushing on. We're at the start of the entree round. We've got the same exact thing going on, so we're back to page 10 on the PDF. We're going to be cooking, taking a turn, and presenting these dishes. I think we've got this pattern down pretty well now. So our ingredient, to remind everybody, is green cardamom pods, and we are making an entree of some kind. So, Ajay, you feel ready for Snake to do his magic?
I'm gonna need a little bit of quick Googling.
Yeah, take a second. We got to think about what are we going to cook and how's it going to look
Yeah.
and things like that. While we're doing that, I'm going to drop the donate link again. This is a fundraiser for the Bail Project for all the people that are out there protesting right now to make sure that they can get home safe and sound. Jess, thank you. Of course, Jess is right there doing the same thing I am. I appreciate that. I don't know how I have this emoji here, and I don't really want that emoji there, but it's there. So I don't know what to do about that. Yeah, if anybody has suggestions on what to do to make Streamlabs stop showing an emoji of somebody I have no idea who they are, that's appreciated. But otherwise, Jess, you have
think I'm
just
ready.
smashed all these goals. Okay, so we're ready for Ajay. Here we go.
I am going to savor.
You're gonna savor. Okay, what do we see? What do we see Snake doing?
This time, from the hole in the studio wall, you see just this like weird like masked person riding in a motorbike with a full like metal like cyborg suit. They just leap off the motorcycle, which just keeps careening into the wall and crashes. And just somersaults halfway across the studio, landing perfectly in a kneeling position before Solid Snake, and just pulls out a bag from God knows where, which Snake says, "You're 30 seconds late. Go home, Raiden." Who immediately backflips out of the studio, leaving the bike there to smolder.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay. I mean, I can't think of anything that describes Saber better than having Raiden show up, bust through a wall. I mean, we've got a lot of holes in the walls of the studio now. I think the production team is
All
realizing.
the producers are freaking out. Like,
Yeah, this can't go
who-
well.
How did that bike get in here? What? Security.
I mean, realistically, the fact that we already said Solid Snake is paid for these ranges, that's out the window now. There's so much damage at this point, it doesn't even factor in. And then if it wasn't for the fact that they're getting so much good product placement from Gus KitchenAid Stone being on the show, like this would be a total write-off. They would have stopped filming by now. But they're going to make some money yet. I think it's going to be okay. We'll see.
We see a jump cut to the security staff, and all of them are just slumped against walls with little like bird rings around them.
Oh yeah, because I mean, we're talking about like TV studio security staff. That's like people wearing vests or like like the gray shirts, and they have like a radio. They don't have guns or anything. There's no way. Handily outmatched.
As they should.
Yeah. So with that, yeah, let's go on to finding out what's going to happen with Mac this round.
I think Mac is, you know what Mac is gonna do? Mac is gonna go for the transform, and what she does, she doesn't actually change the way she cooks. She's gonna stick with just the deconstructing of fast food. But what she does do is she just plays to the judges. She takes off her like suit jacket, and then like we see her out eye is like custom tailored, and like it is sleeveless, and she just does like this big flex, and like shows off some muscles, like looking right at Sailor Jupiter. Looking right at Rondo, and like this is exact, like the posing is exactly the same as that one gif that everybody's seen of the Asian woman who's got like the kimono and she drops it and like she just starts flexing like
I'm in love.
Yes.
Yes. Side note: Solid Snake has changed his jumpsuit. Now it's leopard print.
Yes.
Rue, you're muted.
Yeah, just realized. I said Sailor Jupiter is living her absolute best life right now.
Yeah. Mac knows it. Mac knows how to play to her audience. She knows how to sell what she's got.
Okay. So now you got to make the die roll.
Yep. So I'm going to re-roll my 2. That's what I'm going to do. Re-roll.
Okay.
That is another 2. Great. Awesome. Wonderful. Not as hot as she thinks she is.
So nothing changed. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still put it together for this round. You still got some pretty good numbers.
She
It's
didn't
not
give
gonna
up
be that-
less hot.
Right,
She's
right.
overconfident.
I think the problem is that there's no actual cooking going on, so who knows what's going to happen
Yeah,
with
exactly.
that green cardamom pod. Okay, good stuff. Okay, what's Ishia going to do with green cardamom pods?
I think actually this round she is going to sabotage because she has been frantically looking up cardamoms and what flavor profile that is, and she's like, what in the world? And like tasting it, so she decides to try to sabotage someone else. So she's going up to Solid Snake, and she's just trying to run a lot of his ingredients through her weird chemistry lab thing and just turn them into weird mush and then leave them as presents for him. Partially, she thinks she's helping, actually.
Okay. So, which of the dice are you going to make a J reroll?
Which ones did you already use?
Those are in the parentheses. He's used the
two
two
threes.
threes on the, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Gonna get you to reroll that 5.
All right. Roll 1d6.
All right.
It's a 3.
Okay.
Ooh, good sabotage.
That's a good sabotage. That is bad for the rest of the game, so yeah. Okay. We should see that coming up on the screen here pretty soon. All right, I think we're gonna finish off Jamie Pierce. He's like green cardamom, and I think he's making a syrup, like on the stove, like green cardamoms, reducing it like a sugar syrup, maybe some vanilla in there too, like something that is not very ethnic, but something that has a little bit of flavor to it. Like he's not jumping in the pool, but he's got his toes dipped in, and yeah, I think that's gonna be the cardamom for this one. On the side, there's some sort of batter going on, and he's got chicken, and he's like really quickly turning it over to get like a crispy panko crust all over it. So there's a fryer going. In terms of what I'm going to do with dice, I think I've got to do a transform again. So I want to say that there's some kitchen magic going on here. Not a lot, but something. Maybe just a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to take this 2. I think the 2 is the worst thing I've got. And so let's see what I can do. Okay, I pushed that button twice. I don't think that's where I'm going to take the first one. It's a 1 now. So, yeah, did not get better, and that's okay. Okay, moving on. It's just how it goes. We're in our presentation round. We've got to get these things out where we can see them all. So, number 1, Jay, we're going to get Solid Snake's dish out on the table. What's it look like?
For my entree, I've put together a Kerala shrimp curry with a little bit of coconut and cashew and some cardamom pops ground right in. Somehow, all of the rice that I've prepared for this has turned into mush. I don't know how that happened,
How mushy are we
but it
talking?
should be fine. They look like mashed potatoes now.
Oh my god.
Okay,
That
okay.
hurts. That hurts so
I guess
bad.
this reminds me that as we're going through this part, we have to figure out what our dice we're using are and set those aside. So as we present this dish, we should probably think about what those dice are. What's your thought?
I'm using a 6 and a 4, so it doesn't quite match.
Okay, so it's just a little off. And then, yeah, with that in mind, we know that we're presenting a dish that's not perfect. And what do you want to give as tasting notes?
As tasting notes, it's got a very, very strong coconut vibe to it. Because in Kerala, everything is made with coconut. Everything. It's great. So it's got this very like sweet flavor to it.
Uh-huh.
But not super sweet. It's got like a bit of like a not quite bitter, but like rich
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
flavor to it. The rice itself is served in a banana leaf.
Okay.
For that old school vibe.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly overcooked. And one surmises that it was run through a science machine in between being prepared and being plated.
Okay, so we have a curry that's served with basically like a rice, like a congee type pudding, right?
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's cool. So maybe we could say something about the fact that, like, again, the textures are very similar, right? That may not give you the kind of contrast you would normally have.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so who's commenting on this? Maybe we get something from... Are we going to get something from Gus? Are we going to get something from Sailor Jupiter?
think Gus is gonna try and stay positive. He's like, you know what? I see what you're trying to do here, Snake. Yeah, it was a valiant effort. I think I'll give you that your portions were generous. Like everything's portioned out well, but it's just it's inconsistent. I really expected better from you, Snake. I'm sorry. It just does not stand up to our brand standards.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, that's with a one number different. I can't wait to see what happens to me. That's great. Okay, how about Rude? What is Sailor Jupiter going to say about all this?
Yeah, Sailor Jupiter is also trying really hard to find, like, to not point out any negatives. So she's like, oh, this is really interesting to have the same texture twice in a meal. I love it.
God.
In that way, it is consistent. I will agree.
I love consistency. I also really love your new outfit, Snake. Then she winks at him.
I'm married.
That's okay.
Jeff Fine is going to just be like spooning it up and eating it. He goes, "This is a good soup. It's like there's two soups together."
That was the wrong time to take a drink of water.
Nope. I apologize. So yeah, now the real question is like, how bad is this going to go? Like that's only one number off. Let's see what happens to Knit for Mac. Where are we going with Mac? What dice are we selecting here?
Mac's gonna take that 2 and 3 and just totally whiff it.
Oh man, you stole my idea. That's awesome.
Mac did not cook at all. She let the minions handle all the cooking this round. She was too busy flexing and trying to show off, playing up to the crowd, and
love
then
it.
the come up with these plates, and then like come up from behind her, and she's like, "Oh, you guys are done. Okay." And it's like she's like, she looks at the plates. She is discovering what they have made as well. And you know what? And then like one of them kind of whispers in her ear, and she's like, "Oh, these are legally distinct MacDougal's Mighty Wings, which I need to say are discontinued, and in real life, and a ranch that has just pestled cardamom. Really, guys, come on." Really?
Have you guys actually eaten the raw cardamom pod ever at any point, or like just tasted what it tastes like?
Oh, it fucks you up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. As long as it's not just me, so great.
Yeah, they did not toast it at all. They pounded it and mixed it in like some McDonald's ranch.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And it's just a plate of like McDonald's chicken wings and McDonald's ranch, the special ingredient mixed in. That is how she's gonna whiff this round.
Wow, Knit, what are we gonna say about this? What are the things we say?
It is uninspired, certainly.
Okay.
It is, let's see, sloppy, inconsistent, underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are things.
A lot of
Those
the
are
ins and uns.
Yeah. Flavor? Is it unexpected in flavor? I mean.
I think I would go with unexpected.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Jay, do you want to describe Rondo with this?
Rondo immediately gets to like dipping these chicken wings in the ranch, and he does manage to actually bite one of the cardamom pods, and you see this like kaleidoscope of shock, confusion, horror. It's just that is really a food crime. Not only does it taste like an old trashy fast food place, but it tastes like one that was temporarily set up in India and then bombed.
Wow.
I'm frankly baffled.
God.
I don't know how she's getting these flavors, because this seems exactly like something I had 2 weeks ago. I don't know what's happening. Something's off. There's a mystery afoot. Wouldn't you agree, Sailor Jupiter? There's a mystery here.
Right as he turns to her, she's just taken a bite of like a full-on cardamom pot, and she's just like, wow, that's really flavorful. Oh my gosh. she's trying really hard not to insult Mac, who is probably flexing at her.
Just like that subtle flexing where like the arms are crossed, but like the shoulders are flexing. Yeah.
But because of like the spice that she has just taken a full bite of, that is just the flavor is not stopping. She's like, "Huh, so beautiful, but so untalented in this round."
It's like, you know when you like when you have biryani, just like take a bite of the clove and it just
Yeah. Oh my god, that's
Okay, that I've
exactly
done,
what
yeah.
I'm imagining. That happens to me all the time.
it's
So
brutal.
sad.
But I gotta say, just everything about Mac is just the disaster behind me is screaming.
Yes. That's the real goal here.
That's it. I mean, there's very little going on about the food here, so there's that. Yeah, Jeff Fine.
We can all
just-
thank Rue for like starting out with Thirsty Sailor Jupiter and getting this kicked off.
Look, I'm just playing myself here.
Okay. Pre-game, if everybody could read the Discord chat that we started this game with as part of this show. I mean, I think it started out when AJ 5 seconds into we're gonna play a kitchen cooking game says, "Cool, I'm gonna play Solid Snake." I think that was like
That
floodgates
was a
open
bar
right
that
there.
was set, and I wanted to meet it.
Followed immediately by like literally Solid Snake. Just to be
Yeah.
clear.
Yes. And I think that's all we need to know.
By me explaining just the glory of Solid Snake to Kevin.
Because I've never played a Metal Gear game, and all I know is that he crawls around in orange boxes. But I did not know that he's. Oh my god! So he fights ghosts, and he leads on women in the jungle or dying.
And his
supposedly.
ass.
None of
He's
this is
dummy
wrong.
thick.
Oh my. Let me just allow that by the mod. Okay. Yeah, so with that, Jeff Fine takes a bite of the sauce, makes a face, and like puts the chicken wing down and goes, "I like all kinds of chicken wings, but I don't like that."
Jeff with the hard truths there.
Yep. So I gotta admit that we're on Rouge's turn. I don't want to take my turn yet. We're on Ishia's turn. So what are we gonna present there?
Yeah, looks like we all had the same idea this round because I am using sacrificing those 1-1s.
Oh my gosh. Brutal. I love it.
I was originally going to make this an Indian dish, but I could not do that to my people. So,
I mean, fair.
So instead, this is just a generic stew that she quickly looked up, much like I did, dishes with cardamom in them, and came across lamb stew with apricots and cardamom, but she didn't have any apricots, so she put in strawberry Kool-Aid as a substitute. And that is what is in this stew. She did actually manage to smush up the cardamom, so there should not be cardamom bits in there, but that's the only thing she can promise about this dish.
Okay, so again, she replaced apricots with strawberry Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Okay, I know Vidicha's seen this because they're having a great time with it, but anyway, that's like, wow. Okay, shall we talk about what this is like for our tasting notes here?
Oh, let's see. Oh boy.
Feel free to add your own.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in powdery.
Powdery
Wow.
stew.
Oh, can you imagine if the Kool-Aid didn't dissolve in a stew somehow?
Yeah.
Wow.
She put a lot of Kool-Aid in
Oh,
there.
wow.
Oh my god.
Like a grainy stew. I can't even imagine that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right.
I don't know what else would even work with this one besides that. To go with that, I guess inconsistent probably. I'm imagining because it is powdery, it did not mix well at all. So maybe every once in a while someone can get an actual good bite of that stew because it has no Kool-Aid in it.
Also, it tricks you. It like baits you with the good
Yeah.
bite, and then you go for the second, and that's when it hits you.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah,
that first
yeah.
bite that everyone got seemed like kind of weird, but maybe okay. And then that second bite, you just get all that Kool-Aid powder that's settling in there.
What's our green cardamom pod situation? Are they okay? Are they not okay?
Um, she managed to like pestle them down and actually get them to like a consistent powder. So there is a lot of that too. So it's just also very cardamom-y, more so than probably the stew really needed.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. Okay, so who wants to taste this first? Are we starting with Rondo?
I got stuff for Rondo. So the first bite, he goes through like the same like back and forth to phases. Is like that vine about someone trying kombucha for the first time. Just and just back and forth, and just not bad at all. Not bad at all. And then he takes the second bite, and it's all Kool-Aid powder. And he just, like, you can just see the look of horror in his face. And immediately he, like, fumbles around for a bucket. Until I think one of, like, the producers just, like, hands him one of the prop trash barrels that's all
Okay.
Snake came in with.
Could I offer something actually? Like one of them
Yes.
offers like one of the KitchenAid boxes of like the appliances, and then Gus like out of frame like just smacks him like, no, what are you doing? You can't do that. And then they offer one of Snake's boxes.
Incredible. And you just hear him just like he sticks his entire head in there, and just you can just hear him like puking and then try eating. And then just Echo is like, is there a hole in the bottom of this thing?
So, how many boxes are we at now for Rondo? Is that two? Two pukes, I should say. I think that's two.
No, just one so far.
Just one so far? Okay. I want to say there was one. I maybe it was like a spit or something like that. But okay. It's pretty good. We're doing good. Do we want to have Gus have a reaction to this?
Gus takes his bite, and he's like, just the meat is so gamey. And he's like, he's been chewing the entire time, and then every once in a while we hear like a crunch. Like, he's like, and like he just grabs the camera and points it away, and we hear just puking off camera.
Looks like they figured it out.
Can Ishia interject for a second real quick? She's
yeah.
just like, it's okay, not everyone understands my food as I just deconstruct it. Sometimes the discomfort is too much.
Sometimes the discomfort is too much.
It's
Too
very
much. You just hear echoing from this barrel.
What I can't say is that you were bold with your decisions.
She's like, I'm glad we agree on that. I, on the other hand, think this is delicious. And she's just eating a bowl of it on the side.
Wow. Oh man, that's a move.
You
Okay.
certainly push boundaries.
That's a power move.
Wow. Okay, so Jeff Fine is just, like takes a bite. And he goes, I like both of those things, but I like them separate. And yeah, I guess we're gonna go into Jamie Pierce. And I was gonna originally throw this round, but I refused to go down in infamy so quickly. So I'm gonna put a 10 in there and at least match with what we've got from J for Snake. So with that, I'm going to put a 10 in. Jamie Pierce has put down a waffle with a piece of chicken on top of it, and it's drizzled with a vanilla cardamom syrup. So it's not quite chicken and waffles, but it's close. Yeah, and
Texas.
you know, like maybe a little bit off angle, something like that. Something just a little bit interesting to it, but I think the chicken is probably moist, the breading on the outside is crispy, the waffle has that nice buttery texture, but it's also got a little bit of crispness, and we get just a bit of cardamom. It is a cooking game still. We're talking about cooking every once in a while.
So good.
Cooking good food, edible food.
Every once in a while. I mean, I'm still going to do something with this third round. I've got a 4 for round 3. We'll see.
Rondo just like his face is ashen now. After the last encounter with the third kind.
Shall we? And we're done here.
I'm gonna say I'm really, really proud of what I've done so far.
You monster. No, Ishia is just the embodiment of that phrase from Portal 2 of for science, monster.
This is payback for pain and regrets.
You had that coming for you. But as he eats this like this subtle reimagining of the chicken waffle, you can see life return to Rondo Marin's face. As he just finally something that tastes like a real place. I can imagine myself back in Houston, 2 a.m., driving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, chasing suspects, and afterwards, having a chicken waffle. This takes me back to, except now, the night sky is this unreal indigo. I appreciate it. I appreciate the throwback.
This waffle, the crust, it's so fluffy inside, but the outside has got this beautiful crunch and like the creaminess. But this waffle, the chicken is so impressive with the waffle. I mean, this had to be a KitchenAid appliance product result. And I don't know if Jimmy probably didn't use a KitchenAid, but like when we cut back, there is a KitchenAid waffle maker on his station.
Nit, when I played this game with you last, was this what it felt like?
A little bit.
This is basically exactly what I did to Nit when I was playing. Okay, great. Okay, Rue, do we want to have a Sailor Jupiter reaction?
Yeah, I think Sailor Jupiter is also she did try the last dish, and she's been pretty silent for a while as she recovered from that.
Yep.
She's kind of turned the color of her yellow outfit. She's just like, oh, just really not feeling great. She's like, I might need a moment before I can eat what actually looks like a really delicious dish.
I think we've all been there before. Oh my. Okay, as we get ready for this, our finalist of final rounds here, I'm going to start putting scores up on the board so we can see generally where we are at. We're going for the greatest difference across all of our rounds. So with that, I'm going to throw... Okay, don't make it like that. Don't be that small. I'm going to throw my score up there, which is I've got a difference of 1. We're going to go low scores. We're doing golf scores here. And I'm going to put everybody's score up here. We're going to figure out what they are and where we're at as we enter round 3, so we can make sure everybody feels the pressure of whether or not they want to win, because there's no reason you have to. So, Knit, you are way off now. You're down 5.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm off by 6.
Are you? You're off by 6? Did I do my math wrong? I did my math wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, last round I did a 5 instead.
Yeah.
And it was 11. Yep.
Yeah, I counted that exactly wrong. Thank you for pointing that out.
works.
So, I'm just broken from all of the things that everybody has done. So, with that, I need this moment to regather and, like...
I would like chat to know. Hans in our Zoom chat has been talking shit on Mighty Wings. I like Mighty Wings.
I never
what
ever
anybody
tried them.
says.
I never had a single Mighty Wing in my life, so I could be totally wrong. Ajay,
They
let's
were
see what's
damn
his
good.
score. Ajay's at the same score as me. He's got difference of 1. So 1 is his golf score. What did I just grab?
Chat, how you doing? Write in chat
how
your
are you
favorite
doing,
food
chat?
crimes.
How's everyone's stomach?
Yeah.
Go
think that-
JG wants ice cream now. Ting's fantasizing about chicken waffles. Viditya seems to have broken.
That was my goal, so I'm happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back with the creased pizza.
Hell yeah, Kupo, chicken waffles. I was in Texas before the end times came for us. That was my first chicken waffle, and good shit.
living
Good
like
shit.
living like 30 miles but 3 hours away from LA where Roscoe's Chicken Waffles is. I still have never had a chicken waffle. And
Oh.
I regret it
LA.
before all this.
Okay, and then if you get
Only
chicken
had
and
it
waffles,
once.
do you want the tenders or do you want like chicken pieces with the bone in? What's the preference there?
I would think bone in because chicken tenders are just chicken breast and chicken breast is like super hit and miss.
I'm
Like
curious
you
what
get
everybody else
you
thinks
get
here.
bone in, like that's consistent.
Yeah. What does everybody else think? I mean, I have in my neighborhood, I have a fairly well known in our region, so obviously not nationwide or anything, chicken and waffles place, but they serve theirs as chicken tenders on waffles. They don't do bone-in chicken on waffles. I don't know, but
The
they're
one
very
time I
popular.
had it was chicken tenders with like honey on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like jalapeno honey.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Sounds very good.
Jalapeno honey sounds amazing.
But I tried bone in. If
Yeah.
I were to suddenly return to Texas again,
Mm-hmm.
because there's not a chicken waffles place anywhere in Massachusetts.
Maybe that's the next startup idea for you after this, Ajay, is your chicken and waffles brand. Okay, so I put everybody's scores down. So we're doing golf scores. So low is good, high is bad. So Ajay and I are tied. Kevin, you're at 5, and Rue, unless I am wrong, you are at 9, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I think that sounds right. So that doesn't mean anything because we are on round 2 out of 3, so of course anyone can win, but just so that we've got our scores down, we can think about what we want to have. There's no reason anybody has to win this game. That's not really what this game is about. It's about having fun as you make the terrible, terrible decisions you want. I'm calling myself out there too, of course. But with that, we go into round 3, and our ingredient is finger limes. If you don't know what a finger lime is, it is worth Googling because they are weird.
You're
Yeah.
cool.
Weird but cool. I mean, I think that Ishia could do very well with this. This seems sciencey in some way.
No, I have an idea.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess we start with Snake.
Yeah, I am going to transform. Yeah, I'm gonna transform that 3. That I believe Rue so rudely handed to me. How dare you?
This could be a big thing.
So I'm gonna roll again.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, wait. Yeah, I'm gonna roll again.
Okay.
Because I can't really sabotage Jamie much worse.
Jamie's pretty bad off. Jamie's gonna have a hard time no matter
Oh,
what.
I made it worse. I rolled a 2.
Yeah, I've been there.
All right. I guess I'm rolling a 6 on this thing.
How,
Okay,
how
so
do we
you-
incorporate a snake like gets caught by sneaking around? Sound? One of the few
So,
snake references I know.
what Snake tries to do, is he's trying to You just, Colonel. I'm trying to swap around these finger lines for something more reasonable. But what? Someone seems to have found me. I guess I'll have to make do.
When we get the warp sound, is there a large exclamation point that appears in the air?
Absolutely, from one of the producers.
Yes. That's very good. That's very good. I think they're on pretty high alert at this point after all of the things that have happened. Yeah, this show is going to also, like, they're not only going to get the normal show, they're thinking about doing an entire blooper cut, which is mostly this show, and just, like, all the stuff that broke and exploded, and, like, the production team that got knocked out in the background, and, like, the security people getting knocked out. This is going to be, like, they could make a making of this episode at this point.
That would be longer than the actual episode at this point.
Much longer. And there would be so many interviews by people that got knocked out or were taken aside by the minions and told that they had to leave the set, or, I don't know, handed KitchenAid things that had no reason being on their site. I don't even know what else.
Or
Or we're
just
thrown into one of the science machines.
burst
This
into
True Crime
tears
series coming to
watching
Netflix
Ishiyako.
2022.
Isha broke a lot of chefs during the making of the show.
Yeah,
A lot of
there's
the
several
audience
that
got
just
mugged.
rocking.
I think.
Got mugged? Oh, man.
Yeah.
This is rough. Okay, well, speaking of mugged, what are we going to do with Mac? What's the play for this round?
You know, Max. Okay, who's? Wow, y'all are real bad off.
You're thinking you're doing pretty well this round, huh?
Yeah, I might. I'm gonna sabotage. I'm gonna sabotage Ishia. And one of my minions is gonna sabotage. And how do they sabotage?
There's so many ways.
How do you sabotage somebody who makes disaster food?
You'll only make me more powerful.
That's
What
gonna happen.
happens
Fix it.
is, I think Snake hands you a block of C4 and just says, "Here, make of that what you will."
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow, we just go straight into like the some domestic terrorism. Okay.
Sailor Jupiter is really excited.
You know what? I think what we see is like Mac like takes it very casually, like behind her back, hands it off to a minion, and like one of the cameramen just knows to follow this minion outside the studio into the parking lot where he plants it under a car, under this like white van that clearly belongs to Ishia, and like we cut back inside. We hear like a boom and a rumble and like some dust falls from the ceiling, and then one of the producers goes like, "Wait, what the hell is that?" And then like on one of these monitors, we see Ishia sees the shot of the parking lot where her van has exploded.
And like, strangely, despite it being C4, which is this big burst of fire. And you see on the other side of the parking garage as well, Solid Snake's car, which is literally just like one of those like military Humvees, with like a deflated parachute next to it. No one knows how it got into the third floor of a parking garage.
It's pretty dang good. You gotta like that. Okay,
I was trying to distract Ishia like with destroying her property.
so which of these dice are you attacking here for this round?
I'm gonna try and attack that 6. Let's go for that 6. You can't get better
Okay.
than the 6.
No. Alright, so I just re-roll it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, no. Oh, there it is.
Thank you
It's
for
a-
the assist, Josh.
It's a 3 now.
Okay.
Hey.
Damn it.
Not very nice there, Mac. Not very nice. So I guess we move on to Ishia's round.
Let's see. Okay, well, luckily this is what I was already gonna do. I forgot about the dice roll rules, so I was gonna do transform, but now
you
it
go.
works out. So,
That's good. That's good.
so Ishia is watching. She's watching dismayed, but you can't tell her expression doesn't change. But but she's watching. She's like, "Oh no, my welding helmet was in there. That's really rude."
Oh, man.
And she's pulled out
A chemist's most
like-
prized possession, a welding helmet. Says so much about Isha, like, not in a bad way, in like the best way.
You gotta weld the stew together.
To be fair, most of the chemistry equipment is here in the studio right now. So
Yeah, it was just the helmet, which she was like, she can't go with her hardcore ideas anymore.
so much for that blowtorch. Yeah.
So she's pulled out like a shaved ice machine, and she's making like Korean shaved ice, like bingsu. So she's making a bunch of shaved ice, and she's using the finger limes as like those popping boba that is usually like
Ooh.
mango or strawberry flavored.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so she's shaving up the ice and doing that, and then she's gotten like a bunch of other ingredients. I think she's still got some strawberry flavored Kool-Aid that she's also adding into it because she's making it like fruity, and she's like, yeah, that'll work. It worked in the last one. It's her.
Number one,
So
I love
she-
the fact that she thinks that worked last time. Number two, did you come up with this idea of using finger limes and boba? Is this entirely your own creation?
Yeah, I looked up what it was, and like the picture, I was like, these look like popping boba, so that's what it's gonna be.
I really
when
want to
it
try
had-
this now.
Yeah, I
So
literally I thought of it as I was like flipping through. What does this taste like?
That's very cool.
Yeah, and then she's just adding in. I'm trying to think what else would go with this. Probably just other fruits. I was gonna put in mochi, but that might be kind of weird. Maybe she'll add that in if I don't roll well.
That's, yep.
She starts adding in some weird things. Alright, so- and then I just re-roll this one again.
hmm
Okay. Well, kind of helped. It's a 4 now.
Okay, okay. So yeah, some betterment. It's getting there. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, I gotta narrate the very boring Jamie at this point. So Jamie, what's our ingredient again? We're dealing with finger limes. Okay. Jamie, first off, what am I gonna do for an action? I gotta do a transform. As much as I would love to do something mean to somebody else, there's just no way it's happening. Plus, with this character, it doesn't fit.
Jamie's too
Um,
nice to sabotage.
I think honestly that's where it really comes down to is Jamie doesn't understand how to sabotage. Jamie's got the finger limes and he's trying to preserve a little bit of the texture, not pop them or anything like that. But he's trying to mix them up, and he's going to go for like a citrus mousse. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I really feel like the dice are going to tell us how good or bad it is. His goal is something that's like kind of light and airy, and you can still get that little bite and texture from it being a citrus. Because I really like the idea that Rue came up with, which is the fact that it's kind of like a popping boba. So I got to try to turn around that 1. I got to do something with that. So let's see what I can do. Nope, I rolled another 1. Ouch. Okay, no changes necessary for that.
That's
so
what I call an oof.
yeah, that's just how it goes, right? When you start with a 1 and you end with a 1, it's still a 1. I do want to point out at this point in the game, we can kind of figure out our final numbers here. So I'm going to have... Let's just go ahead and do this. So I'm going to have in my final round a 4. And that's going to make my total difference 6 more than a 1. So I'll have a difference of 7. Alright, let's go to Kevin's score. Kevin, your last one's going to be a 9. So you're only going to be 1 off. Okay, so your score
Oh my
will be
god,
a
what she
6.
said in chat.
Okay, Ajay, you've got a 6. So you're off by 4 here. And that's making your final score a 5. I want to point out, right now, Mac is the second best cook here. And that's almost a crime. So, and then Rue's got an
It's a crime that
8.
she's not best. That's what the crime is.
8, so raising your total score at the end by 2 for an 11. Now, I mean, you took a hard move as we were going through this and purposely threw that second round, which I commend you for. But with that, we know Snake is going to win this, and we know that in terms of how did the desserts go, that didn't look good. That comes off the edge. In terms of how the desserts look, we know that the best dessert's going to come out of Mac's kitchen, and then it's going to be so Mac, Ishia, and then Snake, and Jamie's just not going to do well with this moose thing. It's not going to turn out. So let's talk about Snake and the dessert that they prepared.
For the dessert, Snake puts together a bit of a long shot. He tries to make a finger lime lassi.
Okay.
Completely like throws out like any texture that the finger limes would have. Just he like goes up to Gus Stone and just says, "Judge, do you have one of those blenders on you?"
Oh yes, of course. Here, and he makes a show of it, like makes sure the logo is facing out for the camera, handing it to Snake, like pauses, like if Snake like tries to grab it, he like holds so that he can get, so later they can get that screen cap for endorsements.
Amazing.
It's very good.
And then Snake takes the box, like, and somehow by slamming it on the counter is able to like get it to completely unfold, revealing the smoothie machine. And immediately just like empties out the insides of these like, they're like pomegranates almost on the inside. And just like empties out all the little like popping things, and then just rips through them with the blender. And then throws in a bunch of yogurt and sugar, and turns that into this like weirdly acidic sour lassi. It doesn't quite work, but it works kind of.
Okay. So it's a kind of. What
Not
kind
as good
of-
as Mango Koopa.
Yeah, right. What do we want to say about it? Like in terms of tasting notes, what do you think? It's smooth.
It's got smooth and rich, and it's a bit sweet, but there's also these like sour acidic notes that just don't mix well.
Yeah.
Kind of got that like oil and water kind of thing of like these two flavor profiles just don't mix at all.
Yeah, fair. Okay. So with that, what do we think Gus Stone's going to say about it?
Gus Stone is going to he's like whispering to a producer, can we in the edit like take out that part where he uses the our brands? You know what? This is really good. It is. It's a little. It slightly misses the mark, Snake. You're real close, but your performance overall, like your performance through the whole thing, really it does not leave such a dark mark on your record here. I really applaud your performance over across the competition today.
Thank you.
Sailor
The
Jupiter.
astute viewers notice like he takes one sip, but he has not taken another. He took the requisite amount of taste.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, unmuted. Sailor Jupiter jumped up when she saw it, and she's like, "Ooh, a milkshake!" Like goes for it and drinks it. She's like, "This tastes very different than any milkshake I've ever had. It's very tart." And also, there's another flavor that I don't understand. It's the yogurt that she's tasting. She doesn't know what's going on with this.
Mhm. Very fair. How warm is this lassi?
It's nice and cold.
Okay.
That part he got right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's at least that. Okay. Yeah, so Jeff Fine drinks a little bit of it, and he's like, I'm already done with my assessment at this point. The camera's just going to pan away from him.
It's like that long. It holds and he kind of looks around a little bit, blink, blink.
Yeah, he just
Your
gets
producer's
the
like, come on, come on, come on, come on.
right. Yeah, I mean, in the edit, it looks totally normal that the camera just like moves away, but we're all set, and we can go on to Mac. Okay, so Mac has something good-ish here, right?
Yeah, I guess I never talked about what Mac is making. Mac like has been like while like the others judging, she's still like doing her thing. She's actually cooking. She's gone back to cooking this time. As like got the limes and like she's made like some lime like pudding and like some lime and like has totally cheated off of Isha and like is making like some popping like bubbles and like one of her minions comes in with like a straight up like Jollibee hollow cup and like she kind of like deconstructs that and reassembles it with the ingredients and like including like just to try and make a comeback like or redeem herself like a cardamom like whipped topping on top and like just put back in the Jollibee cups, puts those in front of the judges and like doesn't even introduce it, just kind of like expects them to try it and judge.
Jollibee's in the Philippines, right?
Yes.
Or no? Okay.
Yeah, there's some in the U.S., mostly on the West Coast, I believe.
I got it. Well, I'm missing out. I've heard a lot of hype about Jollibees.
It's really if you want fried chicken, hamburgers, and hollow and like just like the weirdest collection of different things that like just
How do
work.
you
That is what
spell
you
that?
Hollow is HALO space HALO.
Yeah. They've also got a really interesting take on spaghetti.
Which is just noodles and ketchup. I think.
Noodles and ketchup with
Think
hot dogs in it. My kids like it a lot.
Okay.
Which is very typical. Like the U.S. came to our country and like occupied, and we had to adjust to their food because they ruined our supply chain. And yeah,
Well, you have
I
to throw in
thought-
there too that it's
I
all
still
going to be
think
like
about yeah.
yeah.
I still think about like how like Spam became this like very very Filipino thing of like, oh, leave it to like people after colonization to make the food good.
Well,
Like
and it's hard too because
Philippines,
it's
Korea, Hawaii,
Yeah.
even.
yeah. See, my dad's family's from Hawaii, so with dealing with all this stuff, it's like Philippines, Hawaii, they get the same thing where, you know, like Spam, the like tomato sauce that's ketchup, and like the hot dogs that are packed in water in a can. It's like all that stuff is like, you know, they're like survival food that you've stuck on a boat and you're gonna ship overseas, and it's gonna take a month to get there. Yeah, they don't get the good stuff. But I
They
don't know.
make it good though.
Yeah,
They do.
We
They
put
do.
that, and we made it better. And like, and white folks still talk shit. Like,
That's the important thing. Is to them it is trash that they have thrown away to
Yeah.
these other places, and they're gonna judge you for it. Yeah.
They talk shit until they're 27 and live in Boston, and then it's like, oh, this is the good shit. I've always loved the good shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or until somebody
it's
gentrifies it and moves into their
gentrifies it,
neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Like, they
Yes, we've
they
all
make
been there.
this
We know that
so
restaurant.
shitty And
Yep, good times. Okay, yep. Well, this is a game that's a charity fundraiser for the Bail
Yeah.
Project because the world is broken, and that's what you do. You do something, and you also comment on food.
You also comment on food.
Yes.
because everything is political. Games are political. Food is political.
Hell yeah.
Everything's political. So Rondo just takes a bite of this hollow and just pauses for a second, 2 seconds, and then just once I was in Manila for a case of some kind, and I remember eating a dessert just like this. It's a little different, but it's just like this. And this entire time I've had this mystery going around my head, just this donut with a hole inside, and that hole inside, I'm still trying to piece it together, and I think I've got it. And he just stands up and like does the like Ace Attorney like objection point.
Yes.
That is like, I think Mac has been using pieces of existing fast food establishments throughout this entire cooking competition. She has been sourcing outside ingredients in strange configurations and passing it off as her own work. and it's very good. Thank you very much.
We get like the 2-shot of it cutting back to Mac, and like all the minions are like halfway into like ditching the evidence. Then they're like, they hear the rest, of like, oh, we don't have to. Okay, they just kind of set it back down.
It's good stuff. I'm personally searching to find out if McDonald's in the Philippines has halo halo, because I could see that being a thing they do.
Yeah.
I think they do.
I mean, they have
McDonald's.
aloo tikkis in India, so.
In Hawaii, you get saimin, which is like ramen. That's like a very common
And
Hawaiian
McDonald's?
thing. Yeah, and spem musubi.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's good.
Hawaii gets like the good shit for the U.S.
I mean, you know, everything costs at least $1 more there, so there's that at least. But yeah. Okay. Sailor Jupiter. Halo halo.
Oh my god, I was thinking of something and I've completely forgotten what her comments were gonna be. I think she's just sorry about that.
There goes Snake's accomplice, running away from security.
Yeah, I think she's just digging in, since this looks like a dessert that is actually what it looks like instead of the lassi that seemed like a milkshake but wasn't. Yeah. Sorry, what were the flavor profiles again for this
Yeah, let's
one?
talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I never got to that because we got derailed by colonization and food.
Fair, fair.
Understand.
As colonization does. Just fucks everything up. Let's see. It's what'd I get? A 9 out of 10? I'd say it's definitely colorful, because that's key to halo halo.
Oh, good.
It's layered. It's literally layered. Right? Let's go with all the other ones. It's colorful, layered, bright. Spot on portion size. And it's got like these. It's got like varying textures, but not in a bad way. It's like creamy, but like there's some parts with like the different like fillings, toppings. I don't know.
Mhm.
Stuffs.
Kind of both ingredients.
Stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's both.
The floaties.
Yeah, Sailor Jupiter is super into this. I love these. I bet you can make one for each color of the sailor. I don't know. I don't want to say scouts because I don't want it to be an exact copy. Her little sailor group.
Well, you can say Sailor Scouts. Well, they'll just beep it in the edit.
That's right. That's right. That's how it would have gone.
It's just like beep,
Sailor with a Y.
Scouts. Yeah, that is her name. Sailor Jupiter is just her actual name, which is something I never said earlier.
That's good fun.
Oh.
So I guess Chef Fine just eats it and just goes, "Oh, this is really good. I like all the flavors." I think that's what we're going to go with for that. Let's talk about Ishia's dessert. So how did this come together?
So I'm gonna say that the look of it, Mac's recipe looks a lot in presentation the way Ishia's looks. They look very
She
similar.
cheated and she got in before you.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think Mac is like walking back or like standing next to her, and she just comes up and she's like, "Imitation is the highest form of flattery."
There you go.
Ishia understands her ideas are too good. Sometimes people have to take from them.
Yeah, and Mac like totally nods, like, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They understand each other.
They're doing the Spider-Man thing where they point at each other. Yeah.
But it's like finger guns. The bisexual finger guns.
There you go.
Mac does them, and then Ishia doesn't know what to do in response.
Mac does them, and Sailor Jupiter comes up behind Mac and does them as well.
Yeah. Sailor Jupiter goes into Ishia's place and does them for her.
That's good stuff.
She also tries to discreetly write her number on Mac's hand as she walks away.
Oh no, I already have your number. That's okay.
Oh my. Okay, great. Yeah, so Ishia presenters. I think since she's pretty close to the score, but not quite there, she added in a few ingredients that are like a little off, don't taste super great with it. She was putting in fruits, and a lot of them are good, like tart flavors, like strawberries and a little bit of mango. Then she puts in like bananas, which is kind of weird, both texture-wise and flavor-wise a little bit. It doesn't quite go with the like tart flavor of the finger limes. And then she also, because she like really likes shaved ice, also put in red beans, which really don't go with this. Like, luckily it's on the side. She's presented it the way like pat bingsu is normally presented, so it is separated out so people can like just eat around it or eat it without all the other flavors. But it's definitely knocking her off points for having it in there in the first place. This is my deconstructed version of pat bingsu. Enjoy. And then she just walks away.
The camera cuts to Rondo just like eating contemplatively and just reminds me of a fist fight. Fist fight between, oh, I don't know, 10 people, 15. Except it's happening in my mouth. I'm not sure if it's a welcome addition, but it's not an unwelcome addition either. Tastes awful familiar though. Almost like it was a copy of the prior one, or maybe the prior one was a copy of this. One could imagine thinking about this for 10 years. I've done that before. And he just keeps nodding slowly. And you see someone in the production just like, cut it.
That's fair. That's fair. They know what their time allocation is like, and they know they're getting close to the end of it all. They gotta wrap it someday, right? Okay, how about Gus? How does Gus take this?
Gus is like he's picking up like the I don't know, the shards or like the shaved ice, and he's like rubbing it between his fingers. He's like, you know what? Like you could have got this a lot finer. Did you use like a store brand ice maker, or I don't know. Like this could have been a lot better, but I do appreciate these red beans. These red beans are just beautiful and they're wonderful. And like he only tastes the red beans. Like these are amazing, but like, you know, just I don't know. Like a lot. You've got like a weird banana key lime pie thing going with the ice and these red beans, and like the texture of the ice isn't exactly what I want. Like when you want. With the right tools, you could have gotten like the nice fluffy mountain of ice. You know what? You're so close. You're so close, Ishia. I'm sorry. I gotta ding you on the ice of your shaved ice.
She had definitely used like a shaved ice machine that was of her own making. Like she just like MacGyvered a thing together.
It's pretty cool.
So it was not.
It's got like a moped engine.
Just hear the engine going off in the background, whirring.
Jeff Fine eats it all, gets an ice cream headache as he finishes eating the entire plate of shaved ice all at one time. Goes like this. He says, "Some of the flavors make my head hurt. It's good, but it's also painful." And we'll just...
Good but painful is Ishia's brand.
I know, Ishia's like, that's the best thing you could have said, right? So
It's just like, yes, really lean into that thing.
So now Jeff Fine will just lean closer to the table like that for a while. That's my contribution to the show. That's all I've got. Yeah, so Jamie, I'm going to take Jamie's turn now. Jamie Pierce ended up with a disaster mousse. It did not whip up. There's too much citrus in this, and it just really did not let the milk and the egg settle properly. So when it gets plated, you basically have a slightly thickened soup. that is being served on these plates. He looks like he just drizzled on a plate, a plate drizzle. So unfortunately, it does not look good at all, and he has thrown some mint on there as well. And he just plates out. He goes, "Yeah, I'm real sorry about this. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to."
And at this point, somehow this just makes Rando snap, and he just throws the plate at Jamie's face. "You call this a moose? I've crashed into more inconsiderate moose when I was in northern Canada chasing a Sasquatch and a Dodge Challenger. You call this moose? You dare come into this establishment with this slurry and you call it moose? How dare you?" And you see he's yelling and yelling and yelling until someone like cuts him off.
I imagine Jamie cowering at this point. I also feel like this is probably going to be the point at which the production team is saying like we can't have him back on. We can't have him back on here judging again. They're just like crossing out Rondo's name. Let's see. Does Gus have any notes?
Yeah, Gus, like he does his job. He does what he's contractually obligated to. He tastes some of it, and then like he doesn't say much. He's like, "Jamie, that card I gave you before, can I see that real quick?" Yeah, when we were talking about branding your little egg tarts, yeah, can I see that business card real quick? And if Jamie hands it to him, he just like, "You know what, here, this is no, you know what, this is my old number. Here, have another business card that totally has a number that goes to a disconnected line."
I think the card he hands you back has got a little bit of moose in it now.
Yeah.
Ouch.
A little soggy.
That's
He
just
puts it in
mean.
his, of course, Gus doesn't realize he puts it in his pocket and it just ruins all his other business cards. He's gonna have to go online and order them and wait for him to ship to his house. It's gonna be a whole thing.
It's gonna cost a couple $1,000s too.
I mean, Gus has earned it by this point. Let's face it.
Yeah. Let's be real.
Shall we hear from Sailor Jupiter?
Yeah, Sailor Jupiter is just like, she's taken a really tiny bite and is now just like pushing the moose around on her plate, trying to make it look like she's eaten more of it than she has. So she's just like spreading it out a little bit. She's like, you've been really nice this whole time, Jamie, but this moose is, I'm sorry, this moose is a crime against humanity, and I really can't be asked to eat this.
Oh my god!
Wow. Well deserved.
Oh,
Jamie,
Jupiter with the fire!
the camera has to zoom in for that single tear that's starting to run down Jamie's face at this point.
Can we cut to like the solo interview, like behind the scenes after the fact? How does Jamie feel?
Okay, that's a
about
good
these
point. That's a
comments?
really good point. But I insist that after we do this, that we get each of the other chefs as we get ready for closing ceremonies. Jamie is sitting on the stool, and of course it's like a normal sized stool, so it makes him look just a little bit small on it. And he's sitting there. He's got like the front of the chef jacket open up, and his toque is off his head. He's like, the first 2 rounds I felt like I was doing really well because everybody else was doing like dodge rolls and there was like a science equipment thing. I don't think any of these people are actually professional chefs, so I thought it was going to be really easy. But that final round, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I guess they were the real chefs in the end. I would love anybody else to take this and go into their solo studio shot.
This time, Solid Snake is truly shirtless, having realized that all of his other outfits were misters who lost in a fire. So he's entirely shirtless, and just like, kind of just like sitting on the stool and just like Superman posing it. So like you just get this like, it zooms out from his pecs.
We're gonna say it zooms out too much, and in like a doorway, you just see Sailor Jupiter like leaning in.
camera just slowly pans over, so she's just barely in frame.
And then she's just like, "No, get out of get this stupid camera off of me."
As demonstrated, I am the best chef in the United States of America. And immediately, like, the roof, like, is just punched through, and just this, like, portable helicopter thing just falls out of the sky. Snake catches it over his head, flicks the switch, and just carries it out into the sky as, like, the camera just, like, pans up into this giant hole in this, like, 3-story commercial building. Like, why is there a hole going up to the roof?
Okay, just so we're clear, we still haven't done closing ceremony, so the assumption on the production side is that Snake would come back to receive his winning prize, but yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Okay, let's. I don't think Snake knows what the rules or the format of the show are, so that's great.
I'm not sure Snake cares.
I don't think so either. Shall we talk about Mac? Shall we have Mac have a little solo interview?
Yeah, Max, like, everybody else had, like, dramatic, like, orangey and dark lighting, I imagine. Well, like, Max got that bisexual lighting again.
Yes.
Got that pink and blue, and she's standing there, she's like, I'm just here for, like, another thing. This is an excuse. Don't go in the pantry. Pantry's haunted.
Yes.
Sean, no, stop, Sean. Don't.
Where's Sailor Jupiter during this one?
That's amazing. Wait.
Is Sailor Jupiter also in the corner, or are we going to leave that one off?
Yeah, I think the lighting switching at some point called her in. So she, like, ran.
Is she holding one of the lights?
Yeah, she is holding one of the lights. I don't think she's saying anything, though. She's just holding one of the lights.
Good times. Okay, I guess Ishia's got the final interview.
Yeah. She has her, like, super burnt to a crisp, like, a welding helmet back on that she's recovered at some point. She doesn't like doing interviews, so she puts it on as, like, like a what is it, like a comfort blanket? Like, it's her comfort helmet.
Brilliant.
And she's just like, yeah, this is great. It was a good experience. I didn't like being on camera, but I think everyone enjoyed my food.
In their own way.
At points they were that's right, at points, right? At times they enjoyed your food. We all can say that.
Everything was a success in her mind. She got exactly the reaction she wanted.
So now I'm going to take the part of the announcer, and we're going to go into our closing ceremonies. First, we have to get the judges to put in their final opinions. This is just going to be like kind of a synopsis of what you think happened. So the announcer says, all right, we had 4 very strong competitors today. We had 4 very interesting, different cooking styles. Who, in your mind, stood out? Rondo, Judge Rondo, what do you think?
I'm still flummoxed by the performance of Mac. I am, to this day, I imagine I'll still be thinking about this set of performances, of this rapid recontextualization of things that I thought I knew. And just the entire screen goes gray. It'll haunt me to my dying breath.
Very, very interesting points made by Judge Rondo. Let's move on. Judge Gaston, what do you think?
Yes, you know what? I really appreciated a lot of the innovation that came out of this kitchen, from Snake blending in a lot of the flavors and dishes of Southern Asia, and for Ishia just really pushing those boundaries so strongly, and Jamie just like really. Jamie being the center of everything, really being the standby, the stalwart, like sort of the really dependable one and he made great use of the tools he had, the tools that were made available to him, the tools that can be made available to you at your local shopping center for a low price of depending on the items, and there is layaway options available.
Interesting points by Chef, pardon me, Judge, I'm going to keep doing that, Judge Gus. Judge Sailor Jupiter, what do you think?
First of all, thank you for having me here. I'm not really a chef. I just really like to eat food, which is why I was invited to be here. I don't really understand a lot of what happened here, but it seems very unique. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Everything was very unique, and I've never really tasted before. I'll have to consider if I want to taste them again.
That's an interesting point by Judge Sailor Jupiter. Okay, finally, Judge Jeff Fine, what do you think? I normally get about 3,500 calories a day, so for me, this is almost no food at all. I have to go back and have lunch after this. But there were a lot of things that tasted nice. With this, we go to our closing ceremonies. We have all of the judges standing in a line, all the chefs standing in line, all the judges standing in line, and the announcer says, "It was a tough decision between 4 skilled contestants." Is Solid Snake even there?
He is.
Okay.
I imagine like the behind the scenes thing was filmed like a couple hours afterwards.
That's
so
fair,
he hasn't
that's
like
fair.
dipped yet.
It's TV magic. They just didn't. They just kept it together in an interesting way. That's fine. It kept the
Although-
audience guessing.
Weirdly, his leopard print suit is covered in ketchup again.
One wonders how that happened.
You see Sailor Jupiter with the empty bottle.
And the announcer just says, "Well, yeah, after a lot of interesting performances, very skillful and creative entries, our winner is Solid Snake." And this is where Solid Snake's supposed to step forward and take his prize cup.
He pops out of a cardboard. He jumps into a cardboard box, shuffles forward, pops out of it, takes the trophy, and just says, "This one's for my husband." And he just waves, and you see this IT professional looking dude with blocky glasses, just waving in the background. Thank you, Kumar.
When you say background, you mean studio audience, right? Like Kumar's going to stand
Studio
up in the second row of the studio audience or something like that? That's good.
Sailor Jupiter on this side is just like, oh, wow, 2 for 1.
Sailor Jupiter is unstoppable.
Oh my god!
Oh, man. What a positive outlook on life.
I mean, shoot your shot, I guess.
That's what you do on TV.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll drop some confetti at that point and get a shot spiraling around Solid Snake with his wonderful trophy cup.
And then all of the ranges explode in a column of fire all at once, completely torching the rest of the stage.
Jamie Pierce goes screaming and running out of the studio, of course. I'm sure several other production type people do. I imagine that Max interns or minions are tried by fire.
Yeah, they're kind of like, oh, explosions? Yeah, that's normal. Yeah. Oh, that actually works out in our favor.
There is a lot going on. This was a very interesting episode of Kitchen Contest. I mean, again, there will be a lot of footage that gets left over and used in other specials, and it'll be very interesting. Wow. Good show, everybody. So, yeah, I think this is the point at which I say thank you all for coming and playing with us. And I know we said, okay, so this is the goal. First off, I want to thank Kevin Knit, because when I talked to him about doing this, I said, we should do this. I talked to Jess. She's going to leave some time open for us so we can share in her charity fundraising. First off, look at Jess's goal. I mean, she's done amazing stuff. That goal has been broken many times by Jess. Second off, as we're going through this all, I said, well, what should we do? Who should we invite? you guys got pitched by Nit. I think they were excellent choices. I have no regrets whatsoever in that. Everything has been super fun. But also, rather than doing like a lot of promo at the end, Nit suggested that we talk about some things that we want to plug. So do you want to do that?
Yeah. So we all know why we're here. We're raising funds because there's issues in this long-standing issues in this country that are like kind of boiling or coming to a head, and people are tired of it. People have been tired of it, but like a lot of people who had been looking away previously are now confronting it. The fact that they are confronting it is good in itself, and we wanted to take time, instead of like where in most shows where we would plug ourselves and plug our shows, which we could still do, but I personally wanted to put get some attention towards some of the black members of the tabletop community, like some black designers, and I'm going to be, let's plug in chat.
With an S. You got to do plugs with an S.
Plugs S, multiple, because we are plugging a couple folks. There we go. So like there's a couple folks that we had worked together to pick out, like KA, who's got a game It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Take This, which is based on Legend of Zelda, clearly by the name. Mad Puro, who's got a heist game which is really fun, and I took a look at. POC Gamer, who does a lot of work like delving into the Forgotten Realms in 5e, like Trista, who's got a game called a cozy little game. Nick Butler, who has a game on itch but also is working on Tidebreakers, which Ajay turned me on to, and is a really, really good looking game, which I believe they're still play testing right now.
Yes, I can give a more bigger pitch into it. It's just this like, it's the perfect game for like doing those old like Rob Liefeld era Marvel comics, except the feet are drawn properly, and the writing is good. Like that's Tiebreaker. We get all that like 90s like Image Comics excess, but it's great and it's fun. It's so fun.
That's cool.
Also, another one of the links is Orion Black, whose itch page is Dungeon Commander. Like they're currently working for Wizards. They had a game out, Mutants in the Night, which is about playing marginalized people in rebelling against an oppressive force, which is very relevant now. It might be not something you want to play now if you don't have the spoons, but definitely something you should look at. It's an amazingly designed game. And also, I wanted to shout out a friend of, an acquaintance of mine, POC TTRPGs, Carl. I wouldn't know Ajay and Rue if it weren't for Carl, like at all. And like I'm so glad that because of him, like I was able to connect with them and a lot of other BIMPOC folks in the community, and like Ajay and Rue are some of my favorite people to play with, and like I trust them. Like these are people that I've gotten close to in the community, so I really want to appreciate him and all the work that he has done for the community. And there's so many more, like Cypher, like Tanya DePass, Cypher of Tyr. So there's a lot of people in this community that we should have been always supporting, but we should support now if we haven't been before.
Yeah.
Like check out the Black AF Roundtable that happened I think yesterday or the other day on Critical Bard's Twitch channel. It's absolutely fantastic. Like start there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a great jumping off point. And then there's been a lot of threads on Twitter, if you're looking around paying attention, threads that have been by Tanya and a lot of these people and a lot of us listing like black members of like tabletop, of streaming, of video games, of just entertainment in general that you should be following, that you should be supporting now.
That you should be paying.
Yes, please. That's why that's why I wanted to include links to like itch pages and Patreons, because we want these people like help however you can, like even just spreading the word, spreading these links where they can get paid. But if you can, go to these links, buy their games, pay these people, and then play their games. Like appreciate the work that they do. Like appreciate their creativity beyond just monetary value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. So, I mean, again, this is all stuff Nit went and did and got ready, and I really appreciate it. I get to do some design chatting with Nit fairly often, so it's nice to have a time like this where we can just say, look, we know what our purpose is, we know what our goal is, we're putting our effort in the right direction. I don't feel like that's something lacking, but I mean, it's time. It's time now to do it. So I'm glad that everybody's out there doing it now. Okay, that was a ride. Jess, are you in chat? And are you going back? Are you doing Destiny tonight? Are we throwing this back over to you? What's the deal?
I
there?
believe I got a go live notification from her.
Did you? And I don't see her on my followed channels doing anything yet. So
Oh, I
should
don't
be
either. I
seeing
just got
more.
like a weird ping from the side.
Okay, okay. Well, maybe you get the special announcements for special people.
Maybe.
But I will wait a second and see if we get any notifications from Jess that she is going live and has more gaming going on. If not, as we're thinking about this, if anybody has any ideas of other things we can throw to for a raid. Okay, no, they're on? That's weird. Why am I not seeing that? Okay, so thanks, Inventor. Let's see if I can get GoJG in there. So we're going to throw the channel over to them because we are in Jess's fundraiser, throwing it together. Oh, yeah, now I got it. It just went live, so that's perfect. So we're going to wrap here. We're going to throw it back over to Jess's channel. Ajay, Rue, Nit, thank you all for playing. Very much appreciate
Thank
you
you
being
so much
here.
for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you for organizing Hans.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I mean, yeah, play game with people sounds great, especially very creative,
Yeah, for
fun
clarity,
people.
this is all Hans's idea. I helped out, but it was all Hans's idea. He organized, he set up, he's
That's-
produced the stream, he set up, he
that's
got
so not true.
Just to
I literally
set
said to
up-
Kevin, "Hey, what should we do?" And then you did all the stuff, and I was like, "Okay, I'll push agree like 4 times in a row on my phone." It was good.
Hey, you came to me and said like I want to do a charity stream. I want to play. I just said how can I help and all that. Yeah, we both worked, but like if not for you, like this wouldn't happen.
All right.
It's such a fun game too. Like,
Yes, and it is
Yeah,
your
it
game.
is.
Amazing.
Well, thanks. Yeah, and Nit has a version of this where you do it for 2 people, and it's a martial arts contest, and I lost that one too, and it was also a lot of fun. So I personally like losing games within reason. I mean, like I don't want to lose games all day, but I like losing this game. So with that,
And
Yeah,
of course,
we
if
got
you want
one
any more
more on me.
information about us, our handles are on the screen.
yeah,
You can
that's
You
right.
can get more information there.
That's right. Yeah, you got to go check out Bolt, and then Rue, do you have all sorts of cool stuff we should go check out on your Twitter?
Yeah, check out my Twitter. I am mostly just retweeting political opinions. So come for that and stay for the resources.
That's fair.
I mean, some
Check
training
out,
is valuable.
check out the stream that we did for Pain and Regrets,
Oh yes.
which is just grimdark Star Wars. Like,
Where they played Ajay's game.
Yeah.
yeah,
This-
there
Very different
were
than this.
2 PvP duels in it.
wow. Okay, I got to.
People got wrecked.
Is it different? A lot of crime, just less food.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff. Nit, you want to do any plugs? You gonna skip it?
You can check out my channel. I got way too much plugging from Daniel and Steve over on Asians Represent. I got way too much love from them today. I'm
no
good.
such thing. It was brilliant. You wrote a brilliant module.
I like his
I
module a
appreciate
lot.
it.
I'll throw in one last plug.
Yeah.
With me and Kevin, we are both on Unnatural Disasters and Welcome to the Party, where we have an All BIM podcast. Simon Moody is the GM. Nithya, who is in the chat, is also in it, and I believe JR might be in chat still. Might have had to leave. But yeah, that is every Wednesday at time conversion is hard. I think it's
8 Eastern,
8 Eastern,
5.
5 Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah, if you like Mac in this, she's from that. So
Yeah.
if you want more Mac, go watch that.
And that's the advertisement we need right there. Okay, I'm going to push this raid button. We're going to get this going, and it was great hanging out with everybody. We got about 10 seconds here for everybody just to wave and have fun.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the
Enjoy
donations.
waving.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
A
It's
big
wonderful.
donation.
Here we
Thanks
go.
for coming.